Welcome to a place for those in search of truth and conviction, a place where we discuss culture, politics, philosophy, and everything in between. I'm Luke, and I'm here with Russ. This is Hardly Strictly Politics.
Hell yes, dear listener. The HSP Boys are back in the saddle once again for episode number 59. Thank you so much for jumping in the saddle with us. 59, dear listener, prime number episode on the trail. Prime number episodes tend to go very well for the HSP Boys, and hopefully they go well for you too. 2 separate continents, 2 separate countries, 2 separate adult beverages, just to make it fair, and 2 separate cups of coffee feast. 2 separate fact shamings, 2 separate trails to the same inevitable conclusion. 59, dear listener. As we said already, 59 is a prime number, divisible only by 1 in itself. Outside of that, I don't really know too many cool things about 59. There's the 59th Street Bridge song, aka Feelin' Groovy, by Simon and Garfunkel. The 59th Street Bridge is the nickname of the Queensboro Bridge in New York. 59 beads in a rosary, and you know what else 59 means, dear listener. The trail grows longer each and every single week, and 59 means that we've got 59 miles to ride on this trail right here, right now, so let's not tarry. Let's saddle up and ride into episode number 59, which is in the house, presently. Find us on Facebook at Zero Gravity Med. Same thing on Twitter at Zero Gravity Med. Send us email at feedback@zero-gravity-media.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn, and Podbean, all 5 under Zero Gravity Media. Now, dear listener, we are re-examining our publication strategies. We will keep you updated as we roll along. You can also find us on YouTube. Look for Zero Gravity Media and our God tier Zero G logo. Leave us some feedback using the contact form at our website. That's zero-gravity-media.com and zero-gravity-media.com/contact. Single city shout-outs continue here in the house, dear listener. And the city, the magic of this city, is the city with the most HSP listens in the previous period. So without any further ado, the city with the most HSP listens in the previous week is... All right, dear listener, it's not even close. We've got a single standout winner. That is Dallas, Texas, up in the house. What you got to say, Dallas? We got some honorable mentions. However, Scottsdale, Arizona, and Ashburn, Virginia, as always. Thank you so much, Vicarious, dear listener, and thank you so much, Ashburn. Also, we still got Estonia, Bulgaria, Hungary, and India have been on the trail with us, so welcome, dear listeners and riders all around the world. Next week is episode number 60, so plan on longer shout-outs in the next episode. But right now, Luke and I are going to get down to business. Luke, our last trip through our 50s, man. We're getting on up there, brother. We're getting a little bit long in the tooth now. What do you say?
Yeah, dude, seriously. This is actually... Yeah. Dear listener, this is actually our second last trip through the 50s.
Yeah, true.
We recorded this show last weekend, and we were plagued with technical issues, and it was turning into an editing nightmare. And we didn't think it was a very good show, anyways. For just, I don't know, we were both off last week, and we just burned it. So, anyways, we're doing 59 again, but it's all good.
Yeah, the one thing cool that I thought we did, and maybe we'll release this as a special someday, I thought it was cool how we kind of live blogged the Trump rally. I thought we did a pretty good job on that.
Yeah.
And then, dear listeners, then we were just the gremlins came, and we were beset on every side by massive technical problems.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah, seriously. Like our audio was all mixed up, and it was a nightmare. So, we apologize for the delay, but, unfortunately these things happen. And when you're, unless you've got the same studio that you can show up in and day out every single day and nothing changes, you just sit down and hit the button and go, when you're, like Russ and I, and you've got two separate home studios. Sometimes things can get out of whack a little bit, but I have to say that hasn't happened in a long time. It's true. We've been on a really good streak with technical stuff, even considering all of the travel and everything that I've been doing lately.
It's very true. Basically. Oh, dang. Sorry about that. PJWAudio in the house. Sorry about that. Let me close some browser tabs here. So, we've been pretty good, I have to say. Things have been going pretty well. Sometimes these things just happen. I mean, we're on 2 separate sides of the planet, dear listener. So internet bugs happen, sync issues happen, individual technical issues. Just, it's all over the place, So,
but It's all good. We are here and we are ready to roll. Now, sorry, I think my chinchilla was just sneezing. I was like, what is that noise over there? Hold on, I gotta check. Hold on 1 second.
All right.
No, she's good. She's been sick. Dear listener, our other chinchillas, we had terrible luck with animals. This will be, I think she's terminal at this point. But anyways, I wanted to make sure she's fine. But this will be our fourth animal we've lost in 2 years. It's been awful.
Unreal.
But anyways,
yeah.
Now, dear listener, usually Russ and I, somehow the universe is in alignment, and we usually arrive on the show with similar energy levels. But this week, for whatever reason, I arrived high energy. Russ is low energy. So yeah, we're going to start off the show with a pretty white-pilling topic. I'm hoping, and Russ has been unplugged because unfortunately Russ had to go to a family event. And just basically has been under a rock for the last couple of days and missed this entirely. So I am so excited to get your live feedback and all right, prepared to be energized. You will be high energy after this. But very quickly before we hit this first topic, I'm going to run through our topic list here. So this first topic is called Mega Challenge. That's what we're going to hit first. Then we're going to cover quickly the fall of the Berlin Wall. Not a lot to say there, but we'd be remiss not to mention it. Epstein and Veritas. We'll take a quick audio break. We've got some audio for you lined up. Then we'll move into Impeach, Jeff Sessions, some comments by Eric Trump, Trump withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accord, Trump's presser. Then we'll close out segment 2 with Beta dropping out of the presidential campaign. We'll take another quick audio break. We've got some audio lined up for you. Then we're going to cover this Groyper phenomenon. And we'll close out the show with a GBS of Charlie Kirk's debate with one of the founders of the Justice League Democrats, Kyle Kulinski, which occurred at Politicon. I believe it was last weekend. So we have a jam-packed show for you. And in addition to all of that, if that's not enough, I actually have 6 additional topics, which I've sandbagged and botsed. But a couple of those are evergreens, so I can probably recycle those later, hopefully. So did I miss anything, Russ?
Nope. I tracked right along with you.
All right.
That's exactly what I've got.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're good.
Perfect. And that segment 2 is not in any particular order, so we can jump around. But all right. So the Mega Challenge. Yes. I am so excited about this, Russ. This got started by a guy named Bryson Gray on Twitter. He's the guy who was wearing that huge foam mega hat to one of the rallies. And the media interviewed him. And he was like, yeah, my friends were giving me crap about wearing my mega hat. So I figured I'd go out and buy the biggest one I can find. And so he kind of became a meme unto himself, and he's got a bunch of Twitter followers now. He went viral. Well, so he tweeted out on the 8th. What is today, the 9th? So is today the 9th? Yeah, this was yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Trump retweeted this. He started this. I don't know. Maybe it was yesterday. Anyways, whatever the case, it was within the last couple days. He tweeted out, Mega Boy, #Mega Challenge. I want y'all to put your own rap to this song and then tag me. Let's make liberals cry. And then the laugh cry emoji. So he challenged other people to rap to it. So yesterday, Trump retweets him and he goes, I will be announcing the winners of the #Mega Challenge and inviting them to the White House to meet with me and perform. Good luck. So I'm quoting here from a Rolling Stone article.
Dang.
The name of the article is Trump opens new portal to hell by promoting #Mega Challenge rap contest on Twitter. On Friday, Trump tweeted plans to announce winners of the #Mega Challenge, a social media trend in which pro-Trump rappers film themselves spitting their affection for the president and invite them to the White House to perform, effectively opening a fresh portal to hell by promoting what is soon to become one of the most cursed hashtags in Twitter's history to his 66.6 million followers. Now, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a pretty long article. Actually, it's not that long, but whatever the case, I found my best. So now on YouTube, so everyone's going crazy, right? Everyone's recording these little, a few bars and then putting it up on YouTube. And then now people are grabbing them and actually splicing it all together contiguously so that it's just a compilation with the continuous song going for like minutes and minutes and minutes. And now on YouTube, it's like, mix 1, mix 2. And I found the one that I think is the best. And that's the Mega Challenge Mix 2 on YouTube. And Russ has the audio. Russ, prepare to be energized.
All right. You ready to do it?
Let's do it, man.
All right, here we go.
Mega it's a mega world. America great again, make America great again. Mega
great bass, man. Dang.
It's a mega world.
Maggie world.
I'm losing friends left and right, but I ain't mad. Can't kick it with folks that are too uptight, man. I've had my share of the fakes. I'd rather kick it with birds than play cricket with snakes. Think for yourself, don't be an otter. You could be black, white, or red as a tomato. You could find me sipping on Moscato. Make America great, you know that's the motto.
Hey, that's the intro, that MAGA boy. Call me what you want,
this is the chorus. This is what he originally wrote.
All right. I don't understand why these white liberals trying to tell me who I am. Don't put me in groups cause I'm my own man. I said I wasn't Democrat and lost a few friends. Radio stopped playing me, I lost a few fans. Don't tell me I'm a victim cause the power in my
Land
hands.
of the free, home of the brave. I'm the new black Moses, here to free the slaves. From the Democrats, break the chain. Walk away, make America great again. They want to see our babies dead and our men in a cage. Block our freedom of speech, take away our 12 gauge. Dump Trump, are you drinking booze? Check the past, we ain't got nothing to lose. We had little boy Bush who didn't give a fuck, who came after Clinton who just got his dick sucked. Then all changed, that's what I do. What's a bummer, he never did shit for you. Please, back to back, we will play like fools. For men and women's restrooms, pissing on the stools. Put illegal immigrants over people like me. No habla English, then ICE.
Hey, that's the intro, that MAGA boy.
I ain't done.
Call me what you want cause I don't
I'm
matter, boy.
coming back.
I just speak the truth, that's something they
Stay
don't
where you
understand.
are.
Why these white liberals trying
Just
to tell
stay
me who
where you
I am.
at.
Don't put me in groups cause
Got
I'm
more
my
to
own man.
say.
I said I wasn't Democrat
Cause I'm
and
tired of
lost a
being
few
played.
friends.
And
Radio
I'ma
stopped
be
playing
who
me,
I
lost
am.
a few
But right
fans.
now I
Tell
don't
me
give
I'm
a damn.
cause the power in my
Some say
hands.
he's racist and tweets like a kid while overlooking all the good shit that he did. I ain't ashamed of my president a little bit. I'd rather have the alpha male than a little bitch. Dems don't care, it's a fact, it's true. Ain't you tired of being raped? Then they ask me too. Now that me done, jump to your feet, cause the Meek Michelle just earned on the beat.
Oh, that was so tight, man.
Stop being a victim, get your head up out of the system. Hey, got a brand new feeling, I give life meaning. No label can destroy, so come and see your MAGA boy.
Hey, that's the intro, that MAGA boy. Call me what you want cause I don't matter, boy. I just speak the truth, that's something they don't understand. Why these white liberals trying to tell me who I am. Don't put me in groups cause I'm my own man. I said I wasn't Democrat and lost a few friends. Radio stopped playing me, I lost a few fans. Don't tell me I'm a victim cause the power in my hands.
Yo, check, 1, 2, yo. Hop up on the track, catch this MAGA train. So much winning, Tom Brady, Super Bowl rings. If you don't put the country first, you must be insane. If you don't put the country first, then catch the next plane. Fact over feelings, truth over tears. After 2020, 4 more years. So let's send the Fed, build a wall instead. Stop the bias, big tech, put the wars to bed. Economy's doing fine, jobs on the rise. If you applaud that, the left will lose its mind. You can at me, I ain't hard to find. Always serving red pills and you're next in line.
Hey, that's the intro, that MAGA boy. Call me what you want cause I don't matter, boy. I just speak the truth, that's something they don't understand. Why these white liberals trying to tell me who I am. Don't put me in groups cause I'm my own man. I said I wasn't Democrat and lost a few friends. Radio stopped playing me, I lost a few fans. Don't tell me I'm a victim cause the power in my hands.
Bad on me with the limp though. Trump 2024, that's a big tenfold. Moment that I got it, how to snap it with the camera. Now I beat the case like my boy Brett Kavanaugh. Democrats are tripping, they got Betas, they got Asians. Talking about the math, but I guess no one explained it. Lowest unemployment, wages up, I ain't complaining. Obama made me homeless, voted Trump, and now it's changing. And now I'm buying everything, brand new, everything. Xbox, Switch, PC, and a wedding ring. Got myself a home, got a car, got no enemies. Everything is good out here, that's the energy. MAGA is the team, it's the squad, it's set. Why Don Lemon always gotta look upset? When I get the ballot, every box check is red. Trump is whipping China, deep state in the feds. Donald Trump's the GOAT, tell your family, tell your friends.
That MAGA boy. Call me what you want, cause that don't matter, boy. I just speak the truth, that's something they don't understand. Now these white liberals trying to tell me who I am. Don't put me in groups, cause I'm my own man. I said I wasn't Democrat and lost a few friends. Radio stopped playing me, I lost a few fans. Don't tell me I'm a victim, cause the power in my hands.
I'ma devour all these liberal tears, cause all these rappers are exactly what a liberal fears. It took me literal years and a little bit of hindsight to get my mind right about the folks on my right. I thought the left was on my side until I saw the lies, and all it took was for the net to open up my eyes. They call racist and bigot and homophobic and anyone who don't agree with them or who they roll with. Guess what their goal is? Zero defiance, complete reliance on the government and corporate compliance. They wanna snatch your guns and leave us defenseless. Man, just look at history, that's honestly senseless. Mao took the guns and Stalin took the guns. It makes the military scary, you can't even run. The left wants us totally transformed. They pander for your vote and these jokers just ask for them to take away their rights while they claiming they want freedom and pushing on abortions when knowing we don't need them. We gotta defeat them cause it's 2020 or bust. Donnie T gets my vote, there's nothing more to discuss.
Dang.
My challenge.
That guy was sick.
I said I wasn't Democrat and lost a few friends.
He's my favorite.
Y'all ready? He said I'm terrible, but he better be careful, cause MAGA got my back and you know we can be unbearable. How dare you, dude? You just mad cause you ain't having fun. The left can keep on watching and we'll show them how it's done. These freaking Democrats always trying to hold us back. They mad cause we awake now and we only know the facts. I'm setting precedent, supporting the best president, and if you can't respect it, then you need another resident. You hesitant because you know this country is the best. Even though your policies will turn it to a mess. So just thank God we have a president who's playing 40 chess. Even though you hate him, man, we love him nonetheless.
Dang.
Don't make me come back.
Dang. Yeah, man. Yeah, they're showing Baltimore before and after right now on the video, dear listener. Yeah.
Hey, they say, ain't you that MAGA boy? Call me what you want, cause that don't matter, boy. I just speak the truth, that's something they don't understand.
Oh my God, Luke, that did it. That did it.
Yeah, you like that?
That is the dopest shit ever, dude. That is the dopest shit ever. Man, thank you. Thank you, man. Brought me from a low to a high. Yeah.
Dude, I was watching this go down. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is the best week of the year so far.
Yeah. Totally. Man, and since we just played that and we played it in its entirety and deservedly, and we're not going to play this in its entirety whatsoever. But dear listener, I want to hearken you back to our fight song, the DNC's the DNC's fight song from the 2016 campaign, which is the cringiest shit ever. This is for Hillary. That's what the girl says when she puts the button on. This is for Hillary.
Oh my God.
With a scowl on her face. Yeah, here we go.
This is for Hillary.
Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves.
Oh my God, dude.
Isn't this awful, dude?
Can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say, wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is our fight song. Take back our life song.
Rob Reiner.
I remember this song now.
Dude. It is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, man. I was like, really, DNC? You just lost the election.
Oh my God. Yeah. Meanwhile, Trump does this. Yeah.
Who's having fun here? Who's having fun?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is all studio shot, studio recorded. They've got nice microphones. These that we just heard in the mega challenge as Luke and I say it, because we were saying it before anybody else ever did, right? It's all on phones. It's in home setup studios with cameras on their couches and stuff like that.
And their cars.
Jamming. Yeah. Exactly. This is all with the the highlighted vignetted backdrops of different colors and people beatboxing and all this kind of stuff. And our voice, this is made with our voices. Oh my God. That's dude. 2020 is in. I don't want to say that. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to get too confident. But like, man, 2020 is looking pretty good. Let's just leave it right there. It's looking pretty good.
I would agree. And I think we said this on the show, but I mean, when I left the Trump rally, there was one prevailing thought in my mind after leaving the Trump rally, which is that Donald Trump and also Brad Parscale will go down as the greatest grassroots political organizers in the history of our country up until, unless somebody better comes along.
Right.
And
Teddy Roosevelt was really close, but they've eclipsed him. I totally agree.
That was the one thought that was the prevailing thought that I left the Trump rally with. And I had that thought again when I saw this on Twitter today. I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. And at the same time, Trump did that and we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're dedicating, dear listener, the entirety of segment 2 to Trump. So we're getting ahead of ourselves and we need to switch gears here pretty quick. But, this week also, Russ, he did that speech at the Black Voices. Well, and he launched the Black Voices for Trump. Is that what it is? Or America?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right. That sounds right.
He was like, "Who do you want, black or African American? I need a name here. Black or African American?" And everyone's like, "Black."
Yeah.
Okay, it's black then.
Oh man, it's not Black Voices for Trump. Black Voices for Trump. That's
okay.
It.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no search term for it yet. That's why I said it wasn't there. Google doesn't have a search term for it. Of course, yeah.
But I'll be damned. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, Black Voices of Cincinnati is the number one.
You're right.
And then number 2 is Black Voices from prison.
Yeah. And I guarantee you Black Voices for Trump is getting a lot more traction than either of those. But hence, as of yet, rather not hence, no search term. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Well, anyways, dude, I am so stoked this week. This has been one of the most high energy, positive, fun. I mean, this week felt like back in the day when Trump was BTFOing everybody in the Republican primaries and the memes were going around and it was just elation and fun. And that's what this week felt like.
Good, man. Good. I mean, again, I've kind of been under a rock this week for various reasons, dear listener. But surprisingly enough, when Luke started talking about topics, I knew what to talk about with all these things other than Mega Challenge. I didn't know anything about that at all. It
just kind of popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The other big meme this week that just had me cracking up was the Epstein didn't kill himself meme.
Oh, really? Did that trend on Twitter? It should have.
Oh, are you like, I mean, dude, that's everywhere now.
Yeah. Okay.
The boomers picked it up.
Yeah. Ted Cruz tweeted something about that.
Yeah. It's everywhere. It's all over Facebook. Yeah. That's all people are talking about on Facebook. Look at that video I just sent you.
Dang. Dear listener, what have Luke and I been saying, particularly in bots? I think I first hit Epstein in bots number 13. We're on number 21 right now. Like, I've been talking about this for 8 shows, and finally the MSM and the political class catch on. Man, it's very gratifying. That's good.
Yeah,
it's really
it's
good.
all over the place, dude. It's a meme right now, all over Twitter, all over Facebook. Everyone, it's like Mega Challenge and Epstein didn't kill himself are the 2 memes of the week.
Well, perfect transition as always, man. So what else is going on with this, man? Wait, no, we were going to do Berlin Wall. We weren't going to do Epstein. You want to do Epstein and then Berlin Wall since we're here? You want to just do it that way?
Yeah. Let me just knock out Berlin Wall because there's not a lot to talk about.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this week marked the 30th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. And I just wanted to take a moment to remind dear listener just because it's just a good little piece of knowledge to have in your back pocket. And we had talked about this on a previous show. If you read about the Berlin Wall, the official name was not the Berlin Wall, it was the Anti-Fascist Protection Rampart, which right. The GDR said was to, quote, protect the will of the people from Western fascism, end quote. And the people spearheading all of this were the Communist Party of Germany, and affiliated with them briefly, because the organization only existed briefly, was Antifascistische Action, which is anti-fascist action in English. They were affiliated with the Communist Party of Germany, and this is the root of Antifa today. So Antifa today is not any, and where everywhere where it exists all over the world, is nothing other than being against freedom. They have their roots in the Communist Party of Eastern Germany. The Berlin Wall was to protect the East against Western fascism, which they described as anything getting in the way of the will to organize socialism. And so Antifa, they are communists, pure and evil. They are not anti-fascism. They are pro-communism. And
pro-fascism. True.
Yeah. They're not too dissimilar. So anyways, that's all. 30th anniversary of the Berlin Wall. Just remember, when you think of the Berlin Wall, think of Antifa. When you think of Eastern Germany and the Berlin Wall, think of Antifa. They are one and the same.
Man, so a little story about this that I will share with you. A long time ago, right? And not for very much time, probably for about like 2 months or something like that. I dated this gal when I was originally living in Dallas the first time, right? Who was quite a bit younger than myself, right? And she had grown up in East Germany. And so I would talk to her about that, like, dang, wow, what was that like? And we're talking about, I don't know, like 2000, 2001, sometime around this time, right? And she was, 2002, about 2002. And she was talking about Christmas pre-Berlin Wall. And then she was talking about Christmas after the Berlin Wall. And she talked about things like how she finally got her first doll, right? She got a doll for Christmas. And that was a really big deal because, number one, they had access to the goods. And number two, they could afford it, right? Also, like Christmas pre-Berlin Wall was things like what she would get for Christmas would be like a peppermint cane. Like that was all she would get, and maybe a pair of socks or something like that. Then once the wall came down, she gets her first doll. And all of a sudden, Eastern Germany begins to experience abundance, true abundance, right? You would have liked her, Luke. She was cool. She was pretty cool. So we lost contact. I have no idea where she's at now, but like she had the boots on the ground before and after stories about it. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, living here in Germany, I hear lots of stories about that sort of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, there were people who came from the Soviet Union and from Eastern Germany and other places like that they were able to get into the United States or get into the West. And they were so overwhelmed with choice that they actually went back. They could not handle the abundance of choice in clothing and food, and they didn't like it. They liked it when you just, there was one piece of clothing available to buy and you just buy it. You don't have to think. They could not handle the abundance and choice and the requirement to select your values, because that's just not something that you really do a whole lot of in under communism. That's all chosen for you largely.
Right.
So anyways,
crazy, dude.
Well, we should move on, man.
Yeah, let's do it. So, dear listener, it was a big week in terms of this. You know what Project Veritas did and the work that they did, where they leaked this tape from ABC journalist Amy Robach. She's the host of Good Morning America, I believe. Is that right, Luke? Good Morning America?
I believe so, yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's been there for a while, not a really long time, but she's been there for a while. And she was caught on a hot mic talking about how 3 years ago she had the Epstein story and she had everything. All of this stuff that Luke and I have been shouting from the rooftops for the past 4 months now. Now she comes out and she says that they had it and it got killed by the network. Okay. There are so many layers to this story. It's hard to pick apart on HSP. There are so many things going on. Number one, Buckingham Palace got involved with spiking the ball on this story. There's one thing. The other thing, listen, I feel bad for Amy Robach, but her true only sense of regret was that she got scooped on the story that other journalists came forward, and because she couldn't report it, because instead of leaving the network as she should have done and gone to another network that would allow her to publish her work, she towed the company line for 3 years, and now she's crying about how she got scooped on her story. Oh my God, we had Victoria Roberts Giuffre, we had everything, we had it all. We had the Clintons, we had everybody, we had the palace, we had everybody, and oh, I'm so pissed off right now. I get so mad. Not one bit of regret about bringing to justice to Jeffrey Epstein while he was alive. That was really kind of, I mean, I get her emotion, Luke. Truly I do. But it was really disgusting when you consider it in total. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
I don't know. And
I hadn't really thought about it. I hadn't really thought about it in those terms.
Yeah. What do you think about it, man? I mean, like when the video first dropped, what did you think?
I mean,
like everybody, I'll tell you, first of all, what I thought. Everybody was trying to, poo-poo it and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, dang, that is huge. That is huge. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just another data point confirming what my suspicions already were. That's all it was to me. I mean, I thought it was big. It's definitely a big deal. I don't want to downplay that. But after I'm able to process it and everything, I'm like, all right, well, that's like yet another data point. It's a big data point. It's an important one. So I don't want to minimize it, but that was my my prevailing thought.
Yeah. Well, I've often said on Bots, Thoughts, and Drops that this is the biggest story of all time. The very biggest story of all time. And I mean that this is bigger than 9/11. Why is this? Because this touches all of the people who control our world right now. All of them. We're talking about Hollywood, the Academy, politics, all around the world, royalty itself. And there are so many cover-ups going on here. I mean, remember, Amy Robach came out in the Project Veritas tape and she literally said he used pedophilia as a means for blackmail. He was blackmailing the whole world, right? Now, dear listener, I have implied to you who I think it is that is behind Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not going to do it again. You can go back and listen to Bots, Thoughts, and Drops number 15, I think is about where I did that, right around 15, all right? We're not going to do it again. But if the world were serious about enforcing the pedophile crimes of Jeffrey Epstein, where the hell is Ghislaine Maxwell? Where the hell is she?
Can I...
Well, we know where she is. She's in Brazil. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. When you say pedophilia, sure, like help me understand here, because this is a genuine question. Are we talking like? I mean, when I think of pedophilia, I think of like young kids, like 8, 9, 10 years old. I mean, like child rapists. But something like I have, and this is why it seems so conspiratorial. It's like, oh, really? Like, we have all of the world's most powerful people having sex with 8 and 10-year-olds. And I'm just sitting here wondering, like, was Jeffrey Epstein basically feeding, no, not 10-year-olds, but we're talking like underage girls, like 15, 16, 17. And they were just young girls that happened to be under the age of legal limit. And that's how he was. And then he's like, oh, by the way, these are all underage girls. And now I have you blackmailed, sort of a thing.
Yeah, it's all of the above. And, what we know about with Jeffrey Epstein are, I would say, as young as 13, right? When you start throwing in things like Nexium, and dear listener, I have already proven that Nexium and Epstein are unequivocally long time linked. This and what was his name? That video you just sent me, Luke, the Periscope video that we watched before we hit the red button. What was that?
Oh man,
that cat's
let
name?
me grab it.
It's
real
right
quick.
here.
My bad.
That's okay.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's way up there in the chat.
Yeah, dude. We chatted a lot. Where the hell is it?
Yeah.
I can't find it anymore.
Yeah. I can't either, man. Is it removed from our chat? Patrick Howley.
Are you sure?
Something Howley. Howley reporter. Howley. Howley.
Howley. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. He is doing a piece for the Epoch Times, or Epoch Times, or APOC Times, which Luke and I think it should be said, but everybody now, for whatever reason, in the lexicon is Epoch Times, you know? So
yeah, Epoch Times. I call it Epoch Times.
Yeah, I always call it APOC Times. I always thought that's how you said that word, but I don't know, man. You know, I guess we're just boomers. You know what I mean?
Apparently, yeah.
Apparently so. So anyway, he's preparing a huge piece about NXIVM. A lot of things have gone on in the NXIVM case. I have already proven
it's Patrick Howley. Yeah, sorry.
Patrick Howley.
Howley. His Twitter handle is Howley, HOWLEY reporter. Howley at Howley reporter.
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
Kind of a funny looking dude.
Yeah, he is. He is. Smart though, man. Really smart.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So back in the halcyon days of 3 months ago at this point, I want to read just a couple of sentences from this piece I read by Whitney Webb on the Mint Press News. She has been doing the God tier work, tracking down all of this Epstein stuff, while now we know the mainstream media, as proven by Amy Robach, is trying to memory hole this story as soon as possible. I wonder why they're doing that, Luke. Wonder why they're doing that. Why is everybody in unison covering for a known pedophile? This should be the hugest story in the world. They should make a lot of money off this story. But
indeed.
Yeah, just gets memory holed, you know? I'm going to take it from paragraph 1. It goes thus. The picture painted by the evidence is not a direct Epstein tie to a single intelligence agency, but a web linking key members of the mega group, politicians, and officials in both the U.S. and Israel, and an organized crime network with deep business and intelligent ties in both nations. Going to skip to paragraph 3. While part 1 and part 2 of this series, The Jeffrey Epstein Scandal Too Big to Fail, have focused on the widespread nature of sexual blackmail operations in recent American history and their ties to the heights of American political power and the U.S. intelligence community, one key aspect of Epstein's own sex trafficking and blackmail operation that warrants examination is Epstein's ties to Israeli intelligence and his ties to the informal pro-Israel philanthropic faction known as the mega group. Okay? Now, what we know about this is that the mega group is inextricably tied also to NXIVM. Okay? They are tied to NXIVM through Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell. Robert Maxwell was a known Mossad agent who also had ties to U.S. intelligence and Soviet intelligence back in those times. It may have been actually post-Soviet. It may have been Russian intelligence, right? We know this for a fact, okay? Now, somehow, in the guise of his daughter, Ghislaine Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, isn't it funny that nobody even knows how to say her damn name? She is so inscrutable, inescapable, and memory holeable from the media. There's nobody even knows how to truly say her name, but I think it's Ghislaine, okay? That's what I hear most often from the people I trust the most, okay? So what we know about the mega group is that they have been involved with Keith Raniere big time, okay? Big time.
Who's the founder of NXIVM.
Yeah, who is the founder of NXIVM, right? So
we haven't talked about NXIVM on HSP in a long time.
Yeah, it's true. We haven't, man.
You might want to give like a very, very quick rundown as a refresher as to what that is.
Yeah, okay. That's a good point. So NXIVM is a quote-unquote self-improvement group that was taken downtown about 6 months ago. Their leader was this kind of charismatic figure that goes by the name of Keith Raniere. That's actually his real name. And there were all kinds of people involved in NXIVM, including the Bronfman sisters, the heiresses to the Seagrams industry, right? Those people, their father was also involved in the mega group, which I just mentioned.
Do you stop? Are you done with Seagrams now?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I said, are you done with Seagrams now? You're not going to drink Seagrams ever again.
Man, every now and then I can only get Seagrams gin, so I guilt buy a little bit of Seagrams gin. But for the most part, I'm done with them, except under rare circumstances where I can't escape them. Yeah, but outside of that, I'm done. How about you?
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm not a big gin guy, anyways. But
yeah, true. Yeah,
but
yeah.
Yes, to answer your question.
Yeah, man, it's really disgusting. You know. What all they did?
Child rapist drink of choice.
Dang, man, I guess, I mean, funded entirely by bootlegging during Prohibition, just like the Kennedys. That's how they made that fortune of theirs, dang, So I don't blame him for the capitalism. I blame him for the activism ever since the end of prohibition. That's when they got rich. That's what I don't like about the Bronfmans. But anyway.
Yeah, isn't it everybody though?
Yeah, right.
Everyone gets rich, and then they start feeling guilty, and then they're like, "Oh God, no! See how philanthropic I am."
Yeah, I really think that's it. I think people get rich and feel guilty for being rich. Truly.
Oh, yeah, totally. Because everyone buys into this myth. I mean, I don't want to derail here. We still got to get all this stuff covered. But yeah, I mean, what happens is people ascribe to this moral understanding of profit that it's somehow theft or mischievous or, and you see this in award ceremonies of for business owners, and they, Yarn Brook uses this example a lot where he's like, they're kind of like, I started this business and it became very successful. But really the important thing is they gave to this charity, they give $6 million, and then they go on for 10 minutes about all their charitable donations.
Right.
And you also have this very, very common ubiquitous saying, where, I'm successful and now I want to give back, so I give back as if you took something in the first place. You didn't produce anything. You took it. You removed it.
Right.
You got rich at the expense of others. That's what people think. And so people are very, very uncomfortable when they become wealthy. So then they feel the need to give it all away. That's why salespeople are actually, it's funny, they're not really too much like this because they worked their asses off and slaved away. They go angry when the government takes money and when someone comes knocking on their door, they find it much easier to turn them away because it was so how they accrued their wealth is so evident and tangible. But when you become a CEO and you build this like multi-billion-dollar corporation and you're in meetings all day, unlike Michael Jordan, it's very difficult to understand the value, the way through which you generate value is so abstract and almost ethereal in a way that that they sort of have a dissociation there between their productivity and value creation and then the wealth that they're receiving in return, as opposed to like a professional athlete where it's just right there in front of you, So yeah, so people get rich like Bill Gates, and then they're like, oh, I'm going to let someone else step in as CEO and I'm going to manage my Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The Rockefellers do the same thing. The Rockefeller Foundation and all these people, so they now some of them are very, frankly, just evil straight up in the things that they are doing. Like when the Rockefeller Foundation was funding genocide in Southeast Asia,
right,
using Planned Parenthood. But, so some of them are very nefarious in what they do, like George Soros, for example. But then others, they're, legitimately trying to clear their guilty conscience of the wealth that they think that they've stolen. So that's what's going on psychologically with these people who accrue wealth, and then they get into activism. They think they're cleansing themselves of sin.
Yes, exactly. But I want to spin off of a comment you just made here and kind of tie that back to Epstein just a little bit, because you raised a really interesting point, right? With a professional athlete, you know exactly how they got their wealth. When you're Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, you know exactly how they got their wealth. There's a very curious thing about Jeffrey Epstein, and that is that nobody really knows how the hell he got so rich, right? He worked at Bear Stearns. He was an investment planner. Luke and I just learned in this video that he did tax consultation for Keith Raniere of Nexium. So there is a direct link between Epstein and Nexium, and apparently almost went downtown for it after being investigated by the SEC. We're going to find out more about that story in the coming weeks. We just know the headline. We don't know the details yet. But Luke, nobody really knows how wealthy he got. Nonetheless, let it be said that Jeffrey Epstein was a big contributor to all different types of charities. In fact, this YouTube channel that Luke and I happen to know, this YouTuber named JF, actually received a contribution from Jeffrey Epstein. So
$25K, yeah.
$25K, yeah. And so I'm not so certain in Jeffrey Epstein's case that it was to assuage his guilt for being rich. I think it was probably more about control and funding the causes which he wanted to fund. He was very activist at all times. Big contributor to the Clinton Foundation, to the DNC, all of the above. But
yeah, I mean, there's a certain, and he probably also was doing it for tax reasons as well. There's a certain element there as well.
Sure. Yeah. Well, just a little bit more background about NXIVM that we are going to tie together for you inextricably, as if we haven't already, in the coming weeks. This is a caller piece that dropped on August 4th. I'm going to take the 3 bullet points and those only. Here's bullet point number 1. A childhood education program created by convicted NXIVM sex cult leader Keith Raniere is still operating in France, Guatemala, and the United Kingdom. Bullet point number 2. Raniere founded Rainbow Cultural Garden in 2006, claiming it would teach children as young as 2 years old up to 7 languages simultaneously. Well, they attempted it, and then it turned out that these children who were in this program couldn't really speak one language at the end of the day. They spoke this weird hodgepodge of languages. Bullet point number 3. Many of Raniere's NXIVM adherents, including his alleged financier, Sarah Bronfman-Igtet, are deeply involved in the operations of the active RCG schools in France and the UK. Now, what Patrick Howley has just promised us is that he is going to prove that Bronfman perjured herself in court and that she was running an illegal immigration system to recruit children for pedophiles and run them across the border at a facility that was busted in Arizona, which we've already discussed, right? And it's not far from Epstein's ranch there in New Mexico, by the way. Not far at all, okay? We're waiting for the details on that, but he says he has the goods and he's going to bring them. This is going to probably get Bronfman convicted of perjury, I would imagine. Seems like she probably lied under testimony. And one last thing about Howley is that he explicitly indicated that Allison Mack, the Smallville actress, who we've discussed in these hallowed halls time and time again, that she has testified that it was a satanic in intent organization. She apparently said this in court. That got by me. I didn't know that. I just found that out from Howley's video just today. I didn't know that. So we'll see where this goes. Nonetheless, man, Luke, anything about Epstein now not being underground, not being memory hold, it was 3 or 4 months of drive-by coverage and memory hold from everybody. Everybody is guilty of that, man, except for
it almost seemed more like I wouldn't say drive-by. I would describe it as obligatory.
Yeah,
okay,
These
we
are the
have to cover
headlines.
this. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here,
exactly.
folks.
Yeah. But we were doing the deep dives right up in here in these hallowed halls, dear listener. If you recall, we were on top of this. Dude, I think our second show was about pedophilia. I think that's right. And we got a lot of pushback from it. People saying, oh my God, why are you talking about this? Because Luke and I were like, because this touches everything. It touches everything. And now we're finding out just how deep this rot goes. So, man, I hope people with more journalistic skill than Luke and myself. Luke and I are opinion guys. We're talk show hosts. We're not journalists, even though I would say, Luke, we're probably better journalists than most journalists, but I'm just saying,
I wouldn't say we're investigative because we just don't have the time and resources for that.
True. That's it.
We have to rely on others. We don't have the time and resources to generate our own facts through investigative processes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, man.
Yeah, I mean, and just to give you like a sort of a progression, I mean, already in episode 2, I think it was HSP, Russ and I had a conversation where I was just like, man, I don't like talking about this pedophile thing. I think it's gross. It's just not, it's just gross. It's just an ugly subject. And it's also borderline a little bit conspiratorial. Over the course of the year and a half that Russ and I have been doing this show, this has developed from what I used to regard as gross and conspiratorial to gross and not that conspiratorial anymore.
Right.
It is getting to the point now where I'm like, okay, now it's not, is this a conspiracy? Now we need to try and start learning what the delineation is of who preferred 16-year-olds and who preferred 13-year-olds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's that sickening and disgusting.
Yeah. And who preferred 6-year-olds and who preferred 4-year-olds. And, you know, yeah. I mean, as we reported in that first episode, dear listener, more than 800,000 children disappear every single year, never to be seen again. 800,000. It's like more than 200,000 just in the U.S. alone. Yeah. More than 200,000. God, man. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to say on that, or are we break now? Because we're about really, 45 minutes.
Yeah, we're really close to break, and we've got a very long segment too, dear listener. So I'm just going to tie up one loose end, a story that dropped today on the Gateway Pundit. I'm going to take it from the lead. We'll read 2 paragraphs. They go thus. CBS News has fired a former AB News employee who they believed leaked the hot mic video of Amy Robach discussing how the network killed her story about Jeffrey Epstein 3 years ago during the 2016 election. Oh yeah, Luke, that's the other thing we haven't even touched. Ain't that coincidental though that they spiked that story right in the middle of when I'm With Her was happening? Isn't that funny? Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. However, the person they fired, Ashley Bianco, maintains that she didn't do it. Project Veritas founder James O'Keefe has also denied that she was their source. The real leaker has now responded in an open letter addressing the public, the fired producer, Robach, and ABC News itself. We're not going to read the letter right now, dear listener, all right? It's out there. You can just go find it. It broke today. It hit the press today. You can go find it. Look up leaker message or leaker letter, and you're going to find it. It's going to be right there, okay? But what is apparently the case is that ABC has gone scorched earth in trying to get people fired who have left their network and moved on to CBS, right? I guess that what they thought is that this leaker leaked to Project Veritas and then bailed on ABC before they would get fired, right? Then they went to their friends in the deep state media and said, yo, you got to fire this Bianco chick. She just leaked this video to us. So they did. They abided by a separate media company's request to fire her. And in the process, they have hereby implicated themselves, CBS, NBC, and numerous others in covering up stories about pedophilia. Okay? This is God tier happening. This is category 9 happening, Luke.
It's insanity.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, you can't write this stuff.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, you can't. I mean, Luke and I have tried, dear listener. We tried our hand at fiction for a while. We couldn't write fiction like this. You know what I mean? That's a joke. We've never tried fiction. We're fact people. So yeah. So anyways, the white pill about this is that the leaker is still within the halls of ABC, and James O'Keefe is kind of hinting that more of these types of things are going to drop. Dang. We'll see what happens. We'll cuss and discuss it when it comes up. But right now, man, what a ride, Luke. Man, this timeline, man.
Dude, yeah. And then I can lead us out and into segment 2. I mean, and this is just one side of it. You've got all of this corruption and everything going on with the impeachment as well.
Yes.
And all of it ties into each other. It's insanity. Yes. This is, I think that this is why the left is going as hard as they are in all the directions. Impeach, lawsuits, taxes. They're like, okay, like the house is on fire and we need to bomb it out of existence. Water's not enough at this point.
Yep.
We just need to drop bombs on the house so it doesn't burn down, and then just obliterate all the evidence.
Well, everything they try. And we don't even have to dig deep into this. And I'm going to save it for segment 2 because we've got it on the docket for segment 2, right? But everything that they have tried fails and ends up straight back into Trump's hands in terms of control, dude. It's so funny, man. I mean, this pedophile stuff is not funny. It's not funny at all, right? But once again, dang, look how this blew up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is. I don't want to go back on to this point because it's kind of I don't want to say shallow, but it's a overly simplistic understanding of this. But we've talked in the past shows about lying and versus telling the truth, and how lying is faking reality, and eventually that's going to catch up with you. This is like that on the grandest scale that humanity has ever known.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Like if you fake reality, if you lie, if you treat people unjustly, if you don't believe in justice, the principle of justice, if you're lying, you're faking reality and doing all of this stuff for years and years and years. And what they had going for them is they had the power to keep it all covered up.
Yes.
But eventually you get somebody like Donald Trump in there who's a total outsider and his hands aren't shackled. And it may just be the case that this is way bigger than any of us ever thought. I mean, if this stuff comes to fruition, if all of this really comes out in the way that it's looking like it might, then this will all have been way bigger than Trump just getting elected president and we have a bunch of good memes.
Oh, yes.
I mean, we are so far beyond that. That makes that look like I don't want to say tip of the iceberg, but it just makes it makes all of that look so narrow and small compared to what we're dealing with here. And this will be a shakeup that books will be many books will be written about.
Oh, yes.
And how this was a fundamental turning point change in American politics, and books will be written about the rot that developed over the course of 50 or 75 or 100 years, and how it all came to a head. And I mean, it is insane. This is insane, but
it is.
We still have to wait and see because we still don't know how powerful these people are. And we've got Trump in there trying to get that question answered. All right, how far down is the rabbit hole, and how powerful are these people?
Yeah,
are they going to prevent me from finding out? And this is truly insane. And God, dude, what a
ride, man.
I don't know what the future holds, dude. Dear listener, Russ and I, we keep up with the memes. We're on Twitter. We're on 4chan. We do everything that we need to do to make sure that we are in the know. But I can't help you here. Who knows what in the hell is about to happen in the next months and couple of years? Because I don't. But what I do know is this. Something is going to happen because the gloves are off. The left are trying to put Trump, impeach Trump, if not just straight up put him in jail. And so Trump has nothing to lose at this point. He's just like, okay, we are full pedal to the metal, sixth gear. Let's go. We have absolutely nothing to lose. I want to see people that, there's no niceties anymore.
Right.
Perhaps in the very beginning it was, that because you'd be in jail comment during the debate was a little bit tongue in cheek, and he was trying to be funny and controversial. That's serious now. Now he's like, you know what? This isn't funny. Like now we're going to make some heads roll.
Yeah.
So
Adam Schiff is a rotten politician. You will not find a more corrupt man in politics anywhere except for maybe Nancy Pelosi. I think even Adam Schiff is more dirty than she is. And it's serious. Yeah, it's really serious. Yeah.
And Trump also, man, we're content cucking segment 2 here, but this will be a good lead out. We'll do an audio break. But Trump also, he has a swagger to him now.
He does.
Where he's like, okay, we're making some headway. Like what I put up on Twitter, I think, was it's like, when you get a new job and for those first couple months, it's kind of, you're kind of on shaky ground and you're like, oh, I need to make sure this works out and I do a good job and I don't get fired during my probation period. It's like for Trump, it seems like that period is over. And now he's like, okay, no, I've got this. We're good now.
Yeah.
It's like he's got a swagger to him that he didn't have before.
Yeah,
and like I couldn't agree more. Sense of certainty.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And like what this new swagger, which he's already had, but there is a calmness in the pocket that he has now that Luke is right. He did not have before.
Dude.
Yeah.
Good way to put it. Yeah.
And but like that is that came after the period in time when this impeachment crap started really ramping up. Dude, he seemed furious, absolutely, thoroughly through and through angry, right? Then I think all of a sudden he was just like, okay, they're going to impeach me. Cool. I'm going to play it this way. And it brought this calm resolution that he has not had heretofore. You know what I mean? He hasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, because now he can just now he can go full bore and doesn't have to feel bad about it. People going to jail anymore.
That's right.
And take the Obamas down, take the Clintons down, all this stuff, find Epstein, bring me everything Epstein, Ukraine, I need this, like Barr, go, I don't care where you go, just go do your job. You're not I'm not gonna be shackling you here.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
That's
right.
So, dude, and it seems as though, he's kind of one of the last few left, like sort of in the camp. Like, you've got this cadre of Republicans, your Jim Jordans, your Mark Meadows, Matt Gaetz, Dan Crenshaw. There's a couple of others that I'm not thinking of. You've got this cadre of Republicans who are really, really also doing the work, and in the legislative branch that Trump needs done. And it's kind of like them, and then Trump is the leader, and everyone else has jumped ship.
True.
And they're fired, they've quit, they've left, and it's just Trump and then these few Republicans there. It's what it feels like.
It does to me too. Yeah. And not to get ahead of ourselves, but like now, look what's happening. I mean, we had this for segment 2, but it's just a blurb mention anyway. Jeff Sessions is getting back in the race, saying that he is the one that supports the president after the president called him Mr. Magoo and all this kind of stuff. He's coming back because he's like, I want to get back in the Senate because I support the president. He's the greatest president we've ever had. And I believe that there will still be some harmony yet between Mr. Sessions and President Trump, I think. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
But it's exciting, dude. I'm hoping that this cadre of Republicans, really influences Trump ideologically towards capitalism, towards property rights, and less populist. I mean, I don't worry about too much about populism necessarily. I don't think it's that. I used to be like, or populism, but I'm kind of like, it has its advantages, and Trump is good at it. You got to play to your strengths, but I'm hoping these guys can definitely inject some of their Rand Paul is another one, inject their more libertarian leaning and just capitalist leaning ideas. Ted Cruz, how did I forget the two most important ones out of them? But dude, I'm really hoping that they're the future of the Republican Party, because that would be, dude, that's what would save our country. A coalition of Trump teaching them how to deal with these people and using his brash style and abrasive style and unwillingness to just throw himself straight into the fire and deal with the burns, and in an attempt to extinguish it. And, let Trump do all that. And then you've got this cadre of Republicans like Cruz, Rand Paul, who really have the ideological goods, come in and say, okay, the house is burned down. Let's clean it up. Let's get this down to its foundation and start building a house again.
For sure.
That would save the country right there. Like,
for sure.
You heard it here first, dear listener.
Yep. For sure. And we already know, Luke. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? There will be scandal after scandal and all this kind of stuff. But that is the future of the Republican Party if they're smart, because that is the truth. That is natural law enacted right there. So,
dude, absolutely. Yeah. That is natural law. That is nature taking its course, which is a political system which is in line with the nature of man, which is freedom.
Yes.
And that would be so fantastic. And frankly, Russ, I don't know who could get in the way at this. There's nobody left. There's nobody
I don't think so either.
there to get in the way at this point. You know?
I don't think so either.
It's literally just them and Trump. And I mean, that's it. Yeah. I think you can see Trump pulling people in. He's going to these rallies and he's calling people out. He's trying to he's saying, hey, look, guys, like, we got a thing going here. Let's get on board. circle the wagons here.
Yeah.
And he's going around to these rallies and he's calling out senators and governors at these rallies and firing up their base for them.
Yeah.
And in turn, they're going like, yeah, you know what? This Trump, all right, you know what? Yeah. Screw the media,
Yeah.
I don't need the media. I've got Trump,
Right.
And they're like, and they're getting on board. And I think Trump's like, guys, like, come on, let's circle the wagons here. And we have a thing going. Like, don't worry about all this impeachment stuff. I got that covered. We need a movement now. That's what this seems like, dude.
It does to me too, man. It does to me too.
And if this is the case, and I say that because of the stuff he was saying in the second rally, or the rally in Louisiana, or was it Kentucky? That we did the beginning of 59
Kentucky.
with.
Yeah, when Rand Paul came up and defended him, dude, that was we had that in original time, but it was Kentucky. Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw him doing that with like Cruz in Dallas, and then when we watched the Kentucky rally and he was doing it with the politician, the Republican politicians in Kentucky, I was like, oh God. Like, that wasn't just something he did for Cruz. Because remember back then, after the rally, I was like, oh, he's grooming Cruz for the presidency. I mean, he might still be doing that, and I think he probably is.
I still halfway think that, yeah.
Yeah, but now after watching the Kentucky rally, I'm like, oh no, he's not grooming Cruz. He's grooming all of them.
Yes.
To stop being cucks, and here's how to actually be a real Republican.
Yeah.
Let's get together, circle the wagons, and we'll do this. And he's grooming all of them. He's building a coalition on the right. And the ideological spearhead of this is going to be Cruz, Rand Paul, and these guys. It's fantastic. If this is what Trump did, to even question whether or not it was all worth it is an absurdity unto itself.
Right.
What he's done so far, it was all worth it. That's for sure. But, oh, dude, this is, I am so white-pilled, man. This week has been so white-pilling.
Yeah. What a ride, man. I'm serious. What a ride. And I was really proud of Rand Paul for what he said in the Kentucky rally. He really logically came to the defense of the president. Luke and I were live blogging and narrating that. We're like, oh, here comes Rand Paul. All right, let's shut up. Let's listen to Rand Paul. Right. You know what? Maybe we'll do that Trump segment someday as a bonus. Maybe we'll do it, but we burn that episode. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
we'll see what happens,
we could probably do that. We could probably do that segment and just release it as like a 59.5 bonus segment or something.
Yeah. We
I
probably
think it was
could.
like an hour or something like that. It's a show.
Like that.
It's a show. Yeah.
It's about like that. Yep. So before hell came to our doorstep, still.
Yeah. God.
Anyway. But even that day, Cocaine Mitch, the turtle himself, came out and said, at this point in time, if we were to do impeachment, I see no way that we would vote to impeach the president or to remove the president from office, to convict him. I see no way that would happen. So now you've got that cuck himself, Cocaine Mitch, coming out and even defending President Donald Trump. I mean, man,
but dude, Mitch McConnell and to some extent Lindsey Graham too. Dude, there's a word for this. I'm trying to think of what the word is.
Fair weather friend.
Fair weather friend, but Trump gets, I was going to say Trump gets accused a lot of being a pragmatist, and I was going to say they're the real pragmatists, but now what I'm thinking, they're not pragmatists necessarily, they're opportunists. That's what they are.
Yeah, they are. They go where the wind blows. That's it.
When the opportunity arises that they can throw Trump under the bus so that they can please the left, they'll do that.
Yep.
And when the opportunity arises that the left comes after him, but maybe he can get Trump to pat him on the head, then they'll go that direction.
Yep. That's right, man. That's right.
So, all right. Well, dude, we are like already content cucked so bad for segment 2. So let's take a break and then
there's some practical facts that we can bring up, but you're right. It's break time now, man. And you know what? I was going to play audio break number 1, but I think that I'm going to go ahead and move up from audio break number 2 to audio break number 1, and I'm going to play the Trump press conference from yesterday, man. How do you feel about that? I think it's time.
Perfect.
I think it's a good time. All right.
Yeah.
All right, dear listener, thank you so much for riding along with us for halfway through these 59 miles. We hope you're enjoying the show as much as we are. Give us about 10 minutes of real time. We're going to leave you with the president, so enjoy the president, and Luke and I will be back at you before you know it.
news. Let's go. What do you have, John?
I love that, dude.
I know. That's the swagger we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
I'm not concerned about anything. The testimony has all been fine. I mean, for the most part, I never even heard of these people. I have no idea who they are. They're some very fine people. You have some never-Trumpers. It seems that nobody has any first-hand knowledge. There is no first-hand knowledge. And all that matters is one thing, the transcript. And the transcript is perfect. Mark Levin last night on television, who's a great constitutional lawyer, he broke it down. He said, what Trump said, and he was respectful, he said, President Trump. What President Trump said was perfect on the transcript. What he said on that telephone call with the president of Ukraine was perfect. He said, nothing else matters. And what he said was perfect. And he analyzed it, every line, every paragraph. It was not complex. It was perfect. Nothing else matters. With that being said, every one of those people cancel themselves out. So what they do is they go all over Washington. Let's find 10 people that hate President Trump the most, and let's put them up there. Now, in some cases, they really turned out to be very much honest and fair. But in no cases have I been hurt. In no cases that I see have I been hurt. Well, they shouldn't be having public hearings. This is a hoax. This is just like the Russian witch hunt. This is just a continuation. When you look at the lawyer for the whistleblower, I thought it ended when they found out that the lawyer was so compromised. I mean, the lawyer's the bad guy. So you look at that, I thought that was the end of it. No, this is just a continuation of the hoax. It's a disgraceful thing. In the meantime, we've got the best markets we've ever had, stock markets. We have the best unemployment numbers we've ever had. We have the best employment numbers we've ever had. We have almost 160 million people. We've never been even close to that. So we're doing it, but unfortunately, you people don't want to talk about that.
China, can you tell me whether a tariff rollback will be part of the phase 1 China?
Well, they'd like to have a rollback. I haven't agreed to anything. China would like to get somewhat of a rollback, not a complete rollback, because they know I won't do it. But we're getting along very well with China. They want to make a deal. Frankly, they want to make a deal a lot more than I do. I'm very happy right now. We're taking in billions of dollars. I'm very happy. China would like to make a deal much more than I would.
Will you endorse Jeff Sessions in his Alabama Senate run?
Well, I haven't gotten involved. I saw he said very nice things about me last night, but we'll have to see. I'll have to see. I haven't made a determination. Yeah, go ahead. I don't even think about it.
So what do you say to the millions of people who just don't believe you, that you have something and that your transcript shows that you did something wrong? What do you tell them?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a very simple thing. I had a very good call with the president of Ukraine. I assume that's what you're talking about. The call was perfect. Now, thereafter, I have a second call, what nobody knew about, and I guess they want that call to be produced also. You've heard that, John. So I have a second call. I had a second call with the president, which actually I believe came before this one, and now they all want that one. And if they want it, I'll give it to them. I haven't seen it recently, but I'll give it to them. But I had a call before this one with the president of Ukraine. I understand they'd like it, and I have no problem giving it to them. I have no problem.
Mr. President, on the Biden, on the Biden, did you ask Bill Barr or anyone in your Department of Justice to investigate the Biden? And if not, you didn't ask them, why would you ask the president of Ukraine to do something you weren't willing to ask your own Justice Department?
We are looking for corruption. We're giving hundreds of millions of dollars, and we're looking for corruption. And all you have to do is take a look at Biden, and you'll see tremendous corruption. Because what he did is quid pro quo times 10. And let me just say, be quiet. 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 Quiet.
Did you ask the DOJ?
Are you ready? I never spoke to him about anything. It's up to Bill Barr. Bill Barr can do whatever he wants to do. But I saw the same tape on television, and the tape shows that Joe Biden is a crook. He's 100% crooked. And the fake news, which is you, you don't want to do anything about it. His son walked out with millions of dollars from Ukraine, millions of dollars from China. He doesn't know anything. He walked away with a stash. It's a corrupt deal. It's a corrupt enterprise. And if the press did it right, it's a hell of a story. Well, we'll look at it different, assuming we get it. You know, I never like to talk about things until we have them. But it could be Iowa or farm country or someplace like that. It will be in our country, but it could be someplace like that, John. No, I don't think so. I think we'd go more the farm bill. No, I won't. I'll see how it all goes. You have some very good candidates. Look, Alabama is a place where my approval numbers are very good. I think I won by 42 points. I love Alabama. I'm going to go watch a very good football game on Saturday, which is tomorrow, with LSU. That's going to be great. We'll see what happens. He's got tough competition. I mean, you have the football coach, Tommy, is doing very well. You have some good people running in Alabama. Let's see what happens. We'll see what happens. I mean, we'll see what happens. We're getting along very well. They want to make the deal far more than I do. I will tell you, they want to make it far more than I do. But we'll see what happens. We're taking in right now, and you know, as a reporter of finance, you know what I'm saying. They've devalued their currency, and they ate this tariff. We're taking in billions of dollars in tariff money from China. I like our situation very much. They want to make a deal much more than I do, but we could have a deal.
Leon Cooperman said this. If you can't change your behavior, you probably shouldn't run again in 2020.
Well, no, you've really shaped my behavior, because from the day I came in here, I've had problems with phony stuff, like a phony dossier that turned out to be false, like false investigations that I beat. So a lot of my behavior was shaped by the fake news and by the other side. That was a lot of my behavior. The fact is that we created the greatest economy in the history of our country. With all of that stuff going on behind me, nobody else could have done it. Rush Limbaugh said he doesn't know a man in the world that could have done what Trump did. I don't know Leon Cooperman, but whoever Leon Cooperman is, I know of him. He can have his own view. But in the meantime, I'm making him rich, and I'm making a lot of other people rich, including the working man and woman. They've never done so well as they've done right now. Our jobs are the best they've ever been. Everything about our economy is just about the best it's ever been, including unemployment. So I think in light of all of the things going on, and you know what I mean by that, the fake news, the Comeys of the world, all of the bad things that went on, it's called the swamp. And you know what happened? And you know what I did? A big favor. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. Let's see what happens. Nobody else could have done that but me. I caught all of this corruption that was going on, and nobody else could have done it. On top of that, we have the best economy, greatest economy we've ever had, the best job numbers we've ever had, African American, Asian American, Hispanic, the best ever. So I think we've done a great job. And tell Leon, who I've seen, but I don't know, tell him congratulations, because he did very well with Trump.
All right, dear listener, welcome back to HSP episode number 59. That was, dude, that was such a god tier press release, Russ.
Wasn't it, though?
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Man, shots fired. The swamp, I caught them. I caught them all. Nobody could do that
Yeah,
but me.
totally, dude. It's hilarious.
Dang.
Dear listener, we are launching a little bit of I don't want to say an official campaign, but we are really trying to push YouTube listens. So I forgot to do this going out into the break, but coming out of the break, I just want to remind you, please go to YouTube, subscribe to us, just search for Zero Gravity Media. You can see our logo there. Hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell next to it so you get notifications. We are really trying to push YouTube subscription, so please go do that. And also share. Please share on your social media as well. That would be much appreciated.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Thank you, dear listener. Very much. Yes. Yes, we're trying to grow. We're trying to grow. The time has come to grow.
Yeah, we're in growth mode
and
now.
we've been growing. To be fair,
yeah, we have slowly. Lately, before we would struggle to get to certain numbers, and now we just kind of blow through those. And we're in growth mode. We've got production down, we've got distribution down. Now we need to get growth down. We need to market. We need to grow.
Right. Yeah. And we shot ourselves in the foot on that, dear listener. To be fair, we did. I mean, we went numerous weeks when Luke and I were really busy without putting out the content. So there you go. I mean, cause effect. There you go. So, but we're going to fix that. That's fixed, right? Barring emergencies, like I just had this past week. But still, we're going to fix that. And we're up and to the right, as Luke always says, up and to the right.
Dude, are you watching the Alabama LSU game?
I just checked on the score, man. So as of right now, dear listener, I believe it is LSU 33, Alabama 16.
I see 13.
Right? 13. That's it. That's it. I just closed the page. Yeah. Dang, man. And we Aggies, we still got to play LSU.
Oh, right? God, dude. When do we play them?
I know, man. Thanksgiving weekend. That's our last game of the regular season. So, yeah. And we beat LSU last year in 7 overtimes. Took us 7 overtimes to do it, but we did finally beat them. So they are angry and really want to put it on us this season and have the capability to do it. We have the capability, however, to be a dark horse as of now. We are improving a lot, And, do we beat LSU? Yeah, man. I mean, we always win. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter what the score is. We always win. So, yeah, we're going to beat LSU. But, we'll have to see what the score says.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, can you imagine a season for us, right? We played number 1 ranked Clemson, lost. Number 1 ranked Alabama, lost. And now if this game maintains course as it's looking at it, that it will right now, we will play number 1 LSU. 3 number 1 teams in one season. It's insane, man. Absolutely insane.
Yeah. For sure. All right, dude. Let's move on.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so we got Inpeech. You got a bunch that you wanted to talk about on Inpeech, right? I think you're a little bit more red-pilled on this than I am.
Yeah. Okay. So I've been following it. Dear listener, there is a lot to say about this impeachment scam. It is a scam. It is not impeachment. It is not an impeachment inquiry. Oh, my God. It is a gaslighting campaign by the left to try to make you think that the president is being impeached when he is, in fact, not being impeached. And how can I prove this? Because impeachment has not been voted on at all, okay? We've had a bunch of stuff come out this week about the identity of the whistleblower. And Luke, in these hallowed halls, do we disclose the whistleblower's identity? I see no harm in doing that.
Who cares?
What do you think?
Yeah.
It's Eric Ciaramella, okay? He is a deep state operative, worked for John Brennan, worked directly for the Bidens, worked for Obama, worked for Susan Rice, worked for Sally Yates, worked all over the deep state, left side of the deep state, and all of a sudden comes out, oh my God, I've got this information about this call that Trump had with Ukraine. Oh my God. So he is the original whistleblower. That's a fact. He is the one who informed the whistleblower, who was the one who came out and leaked. We can all but prove that. And big shout out to Paul Sperry at Real Clear Politics. He is the one who got the study on this and pretty much proved that it was Eric Ciaramella. Okay. Now,
how did he do that?
I read the piece. It was a very long piece. Dang, man, it's been such a hell of a ride this week. I forgot how he did it. Where is that piece? I've got it here. But dude, I mean, honestly, it's too long for the show. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
But it is, dear listener, it came out last week. Paul Sperry. It came out Thursday of last week. That would be Thursday, October 31st. Wasn't that Halloween? Yeah, it was. Okay, it came out on Halloween Day. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go back and read it. And he proves down to the nth detail that it is Eric Ciaramella. Okay. And so, but there is this, Nancy Pelosi coming out. There's this resistance from the left, like, for them to just go after the whistleblower like this is unpatriotic. Oh, my God. You've got Don Jr. getting shouted down on The View for leaking the name of the whistleblower. And we're going to play that for audio break number 2. No spoilers, but that's where we're going after this. It's worth a listen in these hallowed halls, right? So the fact of the matter is that the whistleblower, as Judge Janine obviated guesting for Laura Ingraham last night on her show, the whistleblower is not guaranteed anonymity. The whistleblower is given legal protections in terms of retribution, in terms of, name smearing and all of this kind of stuff, but not confidentiality. None whatsoever. Anonymity, none. No guarantees of that whatsoever, according to our whistleblower statutes, which were only passed in 1999. For the record, William Binney received no benefits from whistleblower statutes. Edward Snowden received no benefits from whistleblower statutes. No whistleblowers ever do, but now all of a sudden Eric Ciaramella has to be granted all of this protection because his life is in danger. Oh my God. No, his life isn't in danger. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely stupid. If not for double standards and stupidity, what else could you count on from the left other than that? But there have been some developments as of this morning. It's from Devin Nunes. I've got a caller piece here, and Luke and I have some things to say about that if we get to it. The title of the piece, Nunes formally calls on Adam Schiff to testify as part of impeachment, quote, show trial. I'm going to take it from the lead. It goes thus. Republican California Representative Devin Nunes on Friday formally called on House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff to testify about his aide's contact with the Trump whistleblower as part of what he's calling the impeachment, quote, show trial against President Donald Trump. Now, this is from the letter that Nunes wrote to Adam Schiff. This is a quote. Prior to the start of your public show trial next week, at least one additional closed-door deposition must take place. Specifically, I request that you sit for a closed-door deposition before the House Intelligence, Foreign Affairs, and Oversight Committees. All right? The reason why is because that it seems like Adam Schiff is the one who organized Eric Ciaramella's testimony, being the whistleblower. He's the one who passed it off to the second whistleblower, and he's the one who quarterbacked the whole play for how the information would come out. He is also the leader of the House Intelligence Committee, which is now the House Impeachment Committee, right? And he is forbidding certain people who testify in this closed-door hearing from leaking the name of intelligence advisors and agents from which he got information, because Adam Schiff does not want anybody to know what that information is. And so Devin Nunes' point here, and he is quite correct about this, is that Adam Schiff is a material witness now. How did he organize this? When did he talk to Eric Ciaramella? When did he talk to Yovanovitch, the former ambassador to Ukraine until she was fired? How did he organize all of this testimony to come out and then leak it in drips and drops to the media from a closed-door testimony? Nunes is right about this. He should testify. And those are really the only facts. I think probably, man, dear listener is so on it. I think they know everything else that's probably happened, so I don't want to be redundant from the mainstream media. But this is what's going on right now. It's a scam. All of it. It's just a scam, dude. And Luke and I say, for the record, we still say, bring it. Do it.
Yeah,
do it.
Bring it.
Yeah.
So, but how does Devin Nunes, where's this information coming from that he's the quarterback?
We know
how did he draw that conclusion?
Because of things that have come out from Paul Sperry, as a matter of fact, where we know that Adam Schiff and his aides were in touch with Eric Ciaramella in July of this past year, right?
Every time you say that, I think AIDS, like the disease.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Yeah.
It's like Adam Schiff's AIDS was in touch with Eric Ciaramella.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. So, I mean, when you get right in terms of, comparison with infection, yes, that's exactly what this is. It is a virus entirely created by the Democrat Party in Congress. So
okay. So Paul Sperry, and who's Paul Sperry?
He is a journalist for Real Clear Investigations, but mostly writes for Real Clear Politics. He is a god-tier tweeter. I follow him regularly. I check his Twitter feed, even though I have no Twitter still. I follow his Twitter and check it every single day. He just drops little red pills every single day. And then he'll have a barn burner of a piece come out on Real Clear Politics. I'd say about once every week to 2 weeks. He has something major come out. He's a John Solomon type of investigator.
Okay.
He's no less than that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just followed him on Twitter.
All right. Very good. Good. Smart, man. You'll
150,000 followers.
Yeah, exactly. And like a year ago, he was a fraction of that, but he's just been doing such great work that he must be followed at this point in time, So.
God, yeah, dude, he does drop some red pills.
Yeah.
Breaking. The daughter of a Muslim Brotherhood official who advocated Palestinian jihad and hired the Al-Qaeda imam who ministered the 9/11 hijackers at Radical Dar al-Hijra Islamic Center has been elected by Democrats to the Fairfax County School Board in Northern Virginia.
Dang. Wow. I missed that one.
yeah, man.
Dang. Huh. Was it today? It might have been today because I
from
checked.
yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah. I was on the road yesterday. I couldn't check it. Dang. All right.
Yeah.
See? Yeah. I will say this also today. I've got another caller piece here. I'm not going to read from it other than House Republicans on Saturday released a list of witnesses they want called to testify as part of the Trump impeachment inquiry. They are, number 1, Hunter Biden. Number 2, his business partner, Devin Archer. Number 3, Alexandra Chalupa, a former DNC consultant who met with Ukrainian embassy officials during the 2016 campaign. She is dirtier than hell, dear listener, and has also been colluding, not consorting, with Eric Ciaramella. Tim Morrison, the former senior director for European and Eurasian Affairs on the National Security Council. Nellie Orr, wife of Bruce Orr, who used to work for Fusion GPS. Y'all know her very well. Kurt Volker, the former special envoy to Ukraine, who has already testified. Volker was a liaison between Rudy Giuliani and the Zelensky administration. And that's all we got on the list so far. Those are the 8 that the Republicans want. But I guarantee you, there are more. They want Eric Ciaramella. They want him. But
yeah, well, as soon as they put his name on the list, Eric Ciaramella is going to wind up with a handwritten suicide note and a bullet hole to the back of his head.
Right. I mean, by the way, did you hear after the rally that Rand Paul came out and said, yeah, I'm thinking about leaking his name. I know exactly who it is. I can prove it. Paul Sperry already proved it. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing it. Nobody can stop me,
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, God tier, man. God tier. Yeah. So where does this go, Luke? What do you think? Where do you think this ends up? Okay, for example, let me say what I think is going to happen is that the House is going to vote for impeachment. I think that they're going to try to time it for late December, early January, stretch it out as far as they can to get as much media bias coverage as they can, and then try to drop it right before convention season and delegate season begins to happen. That's what I think is going to happen. Then it will go to the Senate, and the Senate will vote not to convict. However, what I think should happen is that Cocaine Mitch should come out right now and say, vote to impeach all you want. I signed Rand Paul or Lindsey Graham's resolution that this is a corrupt process. It is thoroughly corrupt. So even if you do vote to impeach over there in the House, we are not even going to hear this trial. It is not going to be brought up for conviction. That's what I think should happen. So what do you think? Why
do you say that? Why do you think Lindsey Graham should do that?
Cocaine Mitch?
I'm sorry, Cocaine Mitch. Yeah. I mean, they're one and the same at this point.
Aren't they, though? Yeah.
We should just call it, we should just call it Cocaine Graham.
Yeah, Cocaine Graham. Sure, man. Why not? Sure. Because I have never seen such an illegitimate process go on in the House of Representatives outside of getting Obamacare passed. I have never seen such corruption and just lies and blatant disregard for proper procedure blatant disrespect for the other party and the American people. Like, I think that, in other words, it should be clearly signaled to them that this is not even going to be entertained. Whip up these headlines all you want. Leak this testimony all you want. It doesn't matter. Just know right now it's not going anywhere. Remember what Cocaine Mitch said at first. Oh, we're just going to have to keep an open mind about it. We'll definitely have to hear the facts once they come out in a conviction hearing in the Senate. And, that's the wrong way to go, Cocaine Mitch. The right way to go is like, yeah, this is a non-starter. It's an illegitimate process. That's why I say that. That's why.
No, dude. Again, man, this goes back to our premise that we want it to continue. We want them to think. We want to let them think that there's a hope. We want to give them some hope.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Because for this reason, in so doing, in letting them in baiting them and leaving this door open for, you mean it's possible? Oh my God. You round up Cocaine Mitch and Lindsey Graham for being the scoundrels that they are, the political scoundrels who have never stood up for the president and their party. They only stand up for their own political careers. Now, listen, Lindsey Graham's okay every now and then, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. There are plenty of things he could have done to shut this down, right? Like, he could be interviewing witnesses in the Senate Judiciary Committee right now. No doubt about it. But he's not. He's not subpoenaing anybody. He's doing nothing except going on Hannity and talking about, what I want to know is, how is it that this impeachment was actually started? I'm going to let the American people know, blah, blah, blah. No, you're not, you son of a bitch, because you're not doing it. That's the fact. And listen, yeah. So I don't want to rag on Lindsey Graham too much because I find him to be a useful tool. I do. I find him to be occasionally useful. So, but this is really interesting, though, because the fact that Lindsey Graham has not done any of this, the fact that Cocaine Mitch already came out and said, well, we're just going to have to wait for the facts and we'll hear it in the Senate, of course. We have no choice and blah, blah, blah. Like, they're already implicated as being leftist compliant. They're on cuck watch, right? That's really the benefit here, is by letting these Dems have hope, we find out who the cucks are in the process. That's why I want it to go on. Yeah.
Yeah, but if Cocaine Mitch comes out and he's like, there is no hope. And not only that, but the Democrats are then going to turn around and use that to their advantage and go, well, Cocaine Mitch, he's not letting us do this and blah, blah, blah. It's the Republicans are
not letting justice be heard. They're shutting down the process.
Obstructing us. Yeah. Republicans are obstructing us and blah, blah, blah. This is and it gives them something to latch onto. I mean, I say just let them do whatever they're going to do. Get out of the way.
Yeah. I agree. I mean,
I do. Short of actual impeachment, but we control the Senate, so who cares?
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. And dude, I forgot to mention this, but I was looking at someone's Twitter and they were saying that, like, this impeachment's a good thing because it gives Donald Trump complete access to anybody that he wants. He can subpoena anybody.
If it was a true impeachment process, he would be able to, but as it stands right now, under the rules, he's really kind of not allowed to. That is up for approval. Anybody that Devin Nunes or Jim Jordan want to subpoena is subject to approval by Adam Schiff. And if Adam Schiff refuses, then they can bring it up for appeal to the entire committee. You see? Like, if this was a real impeachment, absolutely, Donald Trump should be able to face his accuser, Eric Ciaramella, directly. But it's not real. So it's these fake rules that are impossible to deal with. You know what I mean? But don't get me wrong. I agree with you. Just do it. Go ahead and do this. This is going to backfire so hardcore. Just do it. And, I just want to qualify this, Luke. When I said what I think should happen about the Senate refusing to hear, that's if we had a perfect political process and a perfect political party and all this kind of stuff. Not even perfect, just righteous. You know what I mean? Just righteous. It's not even close to that,
Yeah.
So, so under these circumstances, I entirely agree with you. Just do it. Absolutely do it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was on Twitter and they were tweeting out. They were like, they went on one of these like 1 of 7, 2 of 7, 3 of 7 tweet storms. And I think they were like an attorney or some sort of somebody like this. And they were saying that this impeachment is a good thing for Trump, because if they pass it in the House, then that gives Trump himself direct access to anybody that he wants.
Yes, at that point, yes, it does. Yes.
And that's what they were saying. They were like, go through, like get the impeachment pushed through in the House, and then it gives Trump access to anybody that he wants. No stone will be left unturned at that point, and then it'll never get past the Senate anyway. So who cares? So he was like, get it through the House and then let it die at the Senate. And in the meantime, it'll give Trump access to anybody that he wants.
Right. He is entirely correct about that. And imagine if they do vote for impeachment in the House and it goes over to the Senate, and President Trump, probably his attorneys, Sekulow, Giuliani, all of these guys,
Bondi.
they're going to be, Barr, they're going to be like, okay, first
Bondi.
Bondi, Pam Bondi by that point in time. Absolutely, she will be. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She already is. I think they already retained her.
Did they? Dang. Okay.
Yeah, I think today or yesterday.
Perfect. I didn't know that. See, I've been under this rock. I mean, whatever Twitter feed it was that you read that from is entirely correct. That's true. They can do that. They can, for any reason they want.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good, man. It's just the Democrats, they just have nothing. They're just flailing.
They are.
And this is just the sounds of a dying beast. That's all this is.
Yeah, I characterized it on some bots. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was bots number 20. Like they are in such deep shit right now in terms of corruption, in terms of being deep state through and through, and rigging things like Ukraine and China, and probably voting election processes and all kinds of other stuff. And this corruption is so close to being unveiled that they have to literally, like what Luke said, dear listener, the house is on fire, nuke the house. Nuke the whole house. They have no choice, right? And so I characterized it in terms of they've got to get their train in first. They've got to get their train into the station first, or they're screwed in a very big way. That's what all this desperation is about, is because it is circling them. The more and more this goes on, less and less sticks to Trump. That's the fact. I mean, that's not a value judgment. That's a fact, So,
yeah,
it's good stuff. Oh, man, it's good stuff. Yep. But as it is in terms of the train analogy, Luke, they are on the old 97, and that train is going to wreck down on the bend, dude. The old 97 is going over. You believe this? They cannot bring it. They cannot bring it. Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Totally.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, what do we got next, man? Jeff Sessions?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, by the way, I have an article here by NPR. It's an opinion piece. Okay. I'm not going to read from the article. It's just they tweeted for this opinion piece. The Berlin Wall allowed Americans to see ourselves in the contrasting landscape of a free and open society. As we mark the 30th anniversary that it began to come down, at NPR Scott Simon says, we hear calls from some Americans to build a wall here.
Oh my God. Nice NPR voice, by the way. I like that meme. I like how we do that, dude. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it until I realized. I was like, oh, it's NPR. I have to do the NPR voice.
Yeah. Thank you for the Berlin Wall for making us reflect on our values as Americans. But meanwhile, the wall we want to build ourselves on our southern border is evil. That's what it is. That's what it's saying.
Yeah. Up next on All Things Considered.
Oh, too good. Oh,
dude,
listener.
that reminds me. There's this new trend apparently going through San Francisco. It's called dopamine.
Okay.
Dopamine fasting.
Okay.
It's where you avoid eye contact with other humans. Like I'm not kidding. You avoid eye contact with other human beings. You don't eat. You don't do anything. You basically literally try to suppress all external stimuli, so as to repress as much dopamine as possible.
Damn. I mean, so honestly, I've just got to ask what's different about that from the way San Francisco's always been for the last 5 years.
You know, yeah. Seriously. Well, I guess it's I guess that it stems from like all the social media and the happy hours and going here and doing this and going there and doing that, which I can understand. I mean, living in San Francisco is a breakneck pace of life.
It is.
But yeah, I mean, this is just now they're just trying, and now it's just, yeah, I mean, it's breakneck, but it's value building at the same time, assuming that you're pursuing values and they're real values. But, you know, this is just nihilism, pure and simple at its finest. It's just repress everything that makes you happy, because otherwise you're going to be too happy. So you need to take a happiness fast, you know. You need to fast from being happy. Try to, it's not even about being miserable. It's about repressing any enjoyable emotions as such.
Yeah. I mean, man, you know, yeah, you're exactly right. But when I see these San Franciscans put down their cell phones and their never-ending quest for social validation, I'll believe that they mean business. But dude, they can't make it 10 minutes without checking their phone, you know? See how many views they got and all that kind of stuff. They can't last that long.
No. Yeah, this is what they do. The first thing they finish with their dopamine fast, they jump on Twitter and go, "Hey guys, I just finished the dopamine fast, blah, 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 blah."
Right. And here's my Instagram to prove it.
Here, follow me on Instagram. I'm going to talk more about it.
That's it, man. That's it. Oh, man. You know, speaking of San Francisco, did you see that Greta Thunberg is getting her own mural there?
70-foot tall mural, and it's hideous too.
Yeah, it is, man. She looks really, truly terrifying, man. You know? So, yeah.
Imagine if that was your apartment, like on the other side.
Right. Well, you know, it's funny. Without doxing too much, I know where that is. I saw the photos of it. I was like, dang, I know exactly where that is. It was not far from where I used to live there. Not far at all. Not far from where you used to live there when you were in San Francisco. Not far at all. So, yeah. Yep.
You know what I would do? I would project like a giant "Keep America Great" image out my window onto it.
Yeah, like a
that's
hat.
Like 40 feet tall.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, put a hat on her. Put a mega hat on her.
Yeah. That's yeah. And I mean, you know, you're not defacing it. You know, no crime committed, but I'd probably do that too if I was in eye shot of it. That's probably what I would do.
Yeah, totally. God, that would be so good.
I know.
Dude, oh man, you know there's going to be, I have to check. I have to check now. There's got to be a 4chan raid about this.
There are. There were 3 separate threads when I checked this morning. There were 3 separate. Now, there are probably more by now, you know.
You know, of course, they probably already, I don't know, man. Like, we'll get into these Groypers later and like the alt-right, you know, they're so rationalistic in terms of like, some of their ideas that they're moving towards the left, and they're just so ridiculous. I'm sure they're probably like, you know, these basic rich conservatives and climate change, they don't realize that we need to get, like, the science is there and we need to get this under control, or the white race is going to not exist anymore. You know,
Right.
Whites are the most adversely affected by climate change, you know?
Right. Totally. Yeah. Islam is right about women, you know? So there you go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yep.
Well, all right. So we got Jeff Sessions knocked out.
Yeah.
Why don't we, dude? Okay. So, dear listener, you know, Russ and I talked about a long time ago, and we talked a little bit about it on this episode as well. At the end of segment 1, when we were content cucking ourselves, we discussed the idea of Trump being this sort of bulldozer that just goes in and wipes out all this resistance, all this corruption, all the political correctness, all the nonsense that comes from the left and even some on the right, and basically setting a template for the right to follow, setting a template for somebody like a Rand Paul, a Ted Cruz to run on, in a way in which they can deal with the media and deal with the politicians. And, you know, we said this months ago. What episode did we start saying this, Russ? I can't even remember, but it's like 6 months or 9 months or a year ago.
Yeah, I'd say a year ago, probably around, I don't know, 15 somewhere 15 to 20, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Well, I stumbled upon upon this clip on Fox News with Eric Trump saying exactly what we said. So I guess the whole Trump family must listen to us, Russ. I'm guessing.
I would think so.
I bet Trump probably found us and then probably sent it to Eric and Don Jr. and everybody else.
Yeah, listen to these guys; they're great. 3 hours of fun, you're gonna love it. Yeah,
I don't know. So. These are great people. They're great people. They went to A&M and they're great people. I know Aggies. They're great people.
Yeah. Yeah, but like it's really strange because I saw this clip drop live when it happened. I did not see the tweet about it on the Washington Examiner that Luke sent to me, but I saw it drop live, and it was pretty much taken straight from the mouths of the HSP boys, Luke. I would have to say. It was like that's kind of pretty much exactly our quote, wouldn't you say? I mean, except for my father,
most certainly. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Our father, Donald Trump, please keep us safe and make America great again. And thank you for putting food on the table.
Yeah, right.
No, I don't. Yeah, I mean, it absolutely is 100% the same message. A little bit different words, but yeah, same message for sure.
Yeah. You want to hear it real fast?
Yeah, let's do it. Play it for dear listener.
All right, here it comes.
I could go down the list of 100 other scandals that they should get the transcripts for. Why don't they get every transcript of every call that Joe Biden and Barack Obama ever had with Ukraine, with Russia? You talk about all the time, the more flexibility after the election. Let's get all those transcripts. Let's put them out there. Let's see what's there. If they want to play this game, why doesn't the Senate depose every single person? Why don't they subpoena every single person? But the one thing, Sean, that I have to say I'm really happy about, my father's taught the Republican Party how to fight, right? They've never been fighters like this before. And it makes me happy to see Lindsey Graham on here, and it makes me happy to see Mark Meadows and Jim Jordan. The Republicans are finally learning how to fight against this awful system, this swamp. And honestly, he should be commended for that.
Dang.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's
there. You have
we
it.
have been saying that for months.
Yeah, I think about a year, about right around Christmas, Thanksgiving of last year, about that long. Yeah. So,
I like Eric Trump. What do you think of Eric Trump?
Yeah, I like him a lot. I love his wife, man. She is fantastic. Like, just had a baby and is already back on the circuit. And she is so cheerful and congenial. But I like Eric Trump a lot. I love Don Jr., especially after this clip we're going to play for audio break number 2. I thought he just absolutely manhandled The View. But I think that Don kind of misspeaks occasionally. Respectfully, Don Jr., it's not a criticism. I think just kind of you get involved, and I totally get it. I would be the same, right? Whereas I think Eric Trump kind of plays it a little bit one step back and a little bit shrewder. And I think that's probably because of counseling from his wife, Lara. That's what I think. But I love the whole family.
Huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love the whole family, man. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would agree. I don't know. Sometimes Don, I just think Eric's a little bit more likable than Don Jr.
I do too. I think he's not as brash and smoother, for sure. I do. I really do.
You cut out there for a second. Not as brash and what?
Smoother. He's just a smoother speaker, smoother rhetorician, and just a smoother operator than Don Jr. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I like Don Jr. too as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, okay, in contrast, for example, I don't think Eric would have fared as well on The View as Don Jr. did. Once again, content cucking ourselves. We don't want to get too far ahead, but I don't think he would have absolutely ripped those ladies apart the way that Don Jr. did. And he did. He absolutely ripped them up, So, yeah. Strengths and weaknesses. We all have them. You know what I mean? We all have them. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, all right. Let's move on to then.
Yeah, go ahead. You know what it is. Yep, go ahead.
Trump, we're withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accord.
Yes.
Dude, this is so white pilling.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is, man. Right in the age of Greta Thunberg getting, memorializations and views in San Francisco and speaking at a climate rally in North Carolina and heading down to Chile for the summit, but then the riot breaks out in Chile. So now she's like, oh my God, I need a ride across the Atlantic. We went to the wrong place. And all this stuff happening. And her being this focus point, this forced focus point of attention, it becomes official that we leave the Paris Climate Accord.
Not quite
last.
yet.
Free at last.
Because Obama, they conveniently made it such that you can declare yourself to leave 1 year before the leave actually occurs, and that is like 2 days after the new president is elected. Yeah.
Oh, dang.
So basically, they set it up such that no matter who got elected in 2016, or no, I'm sorry, who gets elected in 2016 is irrelevant. It's who gets elected in 2020 that really gets to decide, because they have an opportunity to renege on the leave.
Oh, dang. Oh,
yeah.
Man. This is a must-win election. I'm confident. But
so I'll read. I've got a Guardian article here. It's titled Trump begins year-long process to formally exit Paris Climate Agreement. Donald Trump is moving to formally exit the Paris Climate Agreement, making the United States the only country in the world that will not participate in the pact as global temperatures are set to rise 3°C. And worsening extreme weather will drive millions into poverty. I mean, okay, there's already billions.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Dare you?
Yeah, I mean, let's remember that there's already billions in poverty, and because they don't have access to cheap, reliable, affordable energy, as Alex Epstein describes fossil fuels. Continuing, the paperwork sent by the United States government to withdraw begins a 1 year process for exiting the deal agreed to at the UN Climate Change Conference in Paris in 2015. The Trump administration will not be able to finalize its exit until a day after the presidential election in November 2020. The French presidential office said Emmanuel Macron and Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping would sign a pact in Beijing on Wednesday that makes reference to the irreversibility of the Paris Climate Accord.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, China isn't even affected by the Paris Climate Accord. Ain't that rich, though? Ain't that rich? Huh.
Yeah, that's a good one, right?
Huh. Yeah.
I mean, especially considering the fact that they emit more carbon. Now, I mean, I don't really care about this too much, but this is just an example of the hypocrisy here. They emit more carbon than all of the other countries in the world combined.
Yes. Far more than the United States, and yet Goldilocks says not a word about China's carbon emissions and they're polluting our oceans. Herself says nothing about it,
Yeah. So that's great. Well done. Good job, Trump. I'm happy about this. This is the stuff that Trump does that I'm super stoked about.
Yeah, that was one of his very first actions when he was inaugurated. And, oh, man, we might have even covered... Well, it happened, I think, before we started HSP, but we've covered it before for sure. But, that was very important to get us out of that, and he did it. I mean, promises made, promises kept. He got us out of it. He did.
Totally. Yeah, dude. And he's put a halt onto all of these EPA lawsuits on fossil fuel companies.
Yes.
He basically went to the EPA, and he's like, all the bullshit that you're up to, it's done.
It's done. Yeah. Yeah, he did.
You may as well use up all those unused vacation days.
Right. Well said, man. Yeah.
Well, we've got one more. I mean, we've already covered the presser in the audio break. I mean, obviously the presser was hilarious. Dear listener, go watch Trump's presser in full. It is a sight to behold. It is hilarious. Trump has a swagger like he never has had before. He is. Do we have? Did we make it to the part where he says, "And we're still kicking their ass"?
No, I don't think we did.
Okay,
we didn't
so
get that far.
I put that.
I've got it. I've got that tweet. That's a good one. I've got it right here. You want to hear it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here it cometh.
The whistleblower disappeared. Whatever happened to the second whistleblower? Why isn't the first whistleblower going to testify anymore? You know why? Because everything he wrote in that report almost was a lie. Because he made a phony phone call. My phone call was perfect. He made it sound bad. That's why I had to release. So the whistleblower is a disgrace to our country, a disgrace. And the whistleblower, because of that, should be revealed. And his lawyer, who said the worst things possible 2 years ago, he should be sued. And maybe for treason.
Dang.
Maybe for treason. But he should be sued. His lawyer is a disgrace. A disgrace. And then ask him this. Where is the second whistleblower, right? Where is the witness that gave the whistleblower the information? They all disappeared. Because Adam Schiff is a corrupt politician. He's corrupt. He made up a speech and he put my voice in it. He made up a speech. Had nothing to do with what I said. Adam Schiff is a corrupt politician that's not giving us due process, not giving us lawyers. And despite all that, we're kicking their ass.
It's true. It's true. In the words of the president, it's true. It's true.
It's hilarious, dude. It's so good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 All of it's true. All of it is true. So, oh man, I love these chopper side press conferences, man. I swear they're my favorites, man. It is so much better than, well, I love Sarah Huckabee Sanders in the press room. I did. I truly did. But these are so much better. They're so much more high energy.
Totally, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
All right, man. Then we got one more thing to hit. And by the way, dear listener, again, if you haven't seen it, it's totally worth the 25 minutes. Watch it on double speed. That's what I do. But if you want to, and then when I hear funny stuff, then I'll back up and listen to it in normal speed. But it is so good, and it is emblematic of Trump's newfound swagger. And you have to go listen to it. It's one for the books. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. The last little piece we've got, just acknowledge that I hear something, Russ.
Oh yeah.
It's swooshing sounds. It's the sounds of I think they're skateboard wheels bouncing over asphalt.
Huh.
Somebody making swooshing sounds. I smell Whataburger patties cooking on a grill.
Oh dang. Dang.
Yeah, huh. I think it might be Beta.
Oh no!
Leave it.
Snap! I think
Headed
you're
back
right.
To Texas.
Oh. Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think I see him coming up the driveway at this Whataburger right across the street, right over here. I think he is, and it is him. He just did an ollie to rail slide right over here. It's him. It's him. Yeah.
Hey, mom. What's for dinner?
Oh my goodness!
An ollie to rail slide.
Yeah. I see him. He's over here.
He hasn't. Yeah, I mean, he's been campaigning so much, he hasn't figured out how to work that kickflip into that rail slide yet.
Yeah, exactly, man. Adult tricks now, So.
Yeah. So his friends are gonna be like, so how was it? Yeah, it was good, man. I'm just, I'm really glad to be home. I'm gonna be able to work on my kickflip now. Just had no time to skate when I was on the campaign trail, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go eat some mud and go take a drive and. It's all groovy, man. It's all good. I'm going to write some poetry, Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, dear listener, you know what we're talking about. Beta gone. Now, Luke, I have heard some conjecture that he is thinking about running for John Cornyn's Senate seat here in Texas. He's thinking about running against Cornyn.
I thought there was somebody else running for that Senate seat already.
Yeah, he would have to go through the primary process. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Were he to get through the primary process, which, he might. He's got a lot of money still in the war chest. Well, no, that's not true. He spent all his money on this campaign. He was previously capable.
Idiot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's like, there was somebody like, dude, you've got $80 million in the bank. You're like, it reminds me of when I was in high school. You know, I had saved up and I had like 8.5 G's in the bank when I was a junior in high school, a senior in high school. And, you know, I had a car and I wanted to buy another one, and I spent $7,500 of that on a Camaro. And my dad was just like, you are an idiot for spending all of that money on a car. And, you know, it was an awesome car and it was fun. And I probably regret it a little bit, but, you know, this was Beto's campaign. That was his Camaro.
Exactly so. Yeah, it was. It sure was. And, you know, I mean, he raised a lot of money when he ran for Senate against Ted Cruz. He really put it to Ted Cruz. If he runs again, gets through the primaries, makes that much money again, John Cornyn's seat is in danger. But the point is this, dear listener, I don't think that can happen. And I would bet that Luke agrees with me because, dude, I think he is politically toxic and politically finished. Yep, he's spent.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
He is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I mean, the best thing is going for him is he's already got all those beta signs in Texas everywhere.
True.
You know,
and they're still everywhere. And they're still like bumper stickers on cars. I see them every day, dude. It's shocking. So he's still getting the propaganda out there. These people are so shameless and so, you know, unembarrassed that they keep them on their cars, you know?
Yeah, bumper sticker, I mean, that's kind of hard. I mean, I would imagine that as just being a form of virtue signaling.
Probably.
It's more of like, you know, retroactive virtue signaling.
Pretty much. Yeah.
You know,
pretty much.
It's like, I know he didn't get elected, but look who I supported, you know?
Exactly. Yep.
So, you know, he's probably just telling him like, hey, keep those signs, keep those bumper stickers. I don't have any money, so you're going to have to keep them or buy them. Better yet, buy a bunch more. Actually, that's probably what he's going to do is like change all of his branding, change his logos and everything. So that way everyone has to buy new stuff so he gets money again.
Probably something like that.
In fact,
I
wouldn't be surprised if this run was actually a way to earn money again.
Same here. I mean, absolutely, man. That's what I said about Gillibrand, Beto, the Hobgoblin, Joaquin Castro, all of them, that this is about fundraising. This is not about trying to become president. You know, so.
He's probably just he's gonna take all of his previous branding and just like plug it into Adobe Illustrator and reverse the colors,
right?
And say, all right, everybody, new signs,
new stickers. Yeah, man, I'll skate them over to you, bro. You know, yeah. But man, I was so glad, and I you know, I'll be honest. I thought Beto was gonna last. Robert, son of Rourke, rather. My bad. I thought he was gonna last a little longer than he did. But he didn't make it, you know? And
yeah, dude, his skating was getting rusty. His losing the calluses on his fingers because he hadn't been playing guitar in a while.
Right.
You know, mom's got dinner ready. It's getting cold.
Yeah. Yeah, just so, man. Just so. Oh, God, what a walking clown show, man. I'm serious. I'm honestly glad that it's over, that we don't have to hear this. Hell yes, we're going to come take your AR-15. I'm just glad that is removed from the political process at this point. He was just so obnoxious, man. I'm gonna miss the entertainment, but I'm just glad it's out. It was poisoning everything. You know what I mean? I'm just glad it's gone.
I hated his, what would you call this? Would you call the pace at which he spoke or like his meter? But like, the way he grouped his words together when he would speak.
Yeah.
Like, I was driving down the road to the grocery store. And when I was driving, I saw a woman. And she was also driving. And it was just spit out the sentence. Say a full sentence without pausing.
Yeah.
You know?
And, you know, Trump nailed this, and I think we have in these hallowed halls as well. His arm movement was spastic, to be quite frank. And, like, the way he always raises his upper lip so that when he speaks, he looks like a chipmunk. He looks like a beaver with a big old set of chompers there in front.
He looks like Butthead. That's what he looks like.
He does. Yeah, he does. I mean, yeah, rhetorically and physically, yes, he resembles Butthead in every which way. Good, well done, man. And dude, I swear to God, I've even seen him in an AC/DC shirt before. I think that he was playing with Willie wearing an AC/DC shirt. I'm certain of it. And I never made that connection to him looking like Butthead. Oh man. Too good. Yeah. Well,
all right, dude.
Yeah. Well, just one last point. Word around the campfire is that Kamala Harris is firing right and left because she's out of campaign funds. And we do know that Castro has come out and said he is going to give it for a certain amount of time to raise. I think he wanted to raise $500,000. And if he doesn't raise $500,000 by that time, he gone too, right? So who we're left with are people like that are really surprising to make it to the next debate. People like Tulsi Gabbard and people like this that we did not really expect to make it this far. I didn't anyway. Can't speak for Luke, but I did not, yeah,
and you've got Bloomberg coming out now.
Coming in, yeah.
I think of these like viral articles. It's like, see how Mayor Bloomberg saved $5 million in campaign spending with this one simple trick.
Yeah, yeah.
See how Bloomberg made What round of the debates are we on now? 3, 4?
4. This will be 4.
Yeah,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See how Bloomberg made it to the 4th debate with this one simple trick.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly so, man. Exactly so.
All right. Well, let's go to break, dude. And dear listener, before we go to break, subscribe to us on YouTube. Look us up, Zero Gravity Media. Subscribe, hit the bell, and we would very, very much appreciate that. Our goal is to hit, we're at like 20. We're doing good on listens, but on YouTube, we're doing really terrible. So, because we just haven't really pushed it. We only have I think 23 subscribers, and our goal is to hit 100. So please go to YouTube, subscribe.
Yes, please. Yes. Thank you, dear listener. Thank you very much. And we will keep bringing the content. Believe that. Trust us. For real. Trust us. We got it. But meanwhile, dear listener, we are 2/3 of the way through this journey of 59 miles here on episode number 59. We hope you're enjoying it just as much as we are. We've got a couple of sites left to see, and then we're going to pitch camp, and we're going to make a night of it right after this. But what we've got to play for you before we continue this last leg of our journey is Don Jr. on The View. And dear listener, it was hilarious. I kind of want to get into the middle of it, but I kind of want to take it from the top too. So we're going to take it from the top. You know what? I just changed my mind about that, Luke. I'm calling an audible. I'm going to put it in at about 5 minutes. I was taking it right there at about 1.5 minutes, but I'm going to take it in at about 5 minutes into the interview, something like that.
So how long of a break are we doing?
Like 7 to 10, something like that, till we're ready, till we're not saddle sore anymore. That sound good?
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
7 to 10. All right, dear listeners, so we hope you enjoy it. Here is Don Jr. along with the lovely Kimberly Guilfoyle at his side. We hope you enjoy it very much. Meanwhile, Luke and I are going to take 7 to 10 minutes of real time, and we will be back at you before you know it.
Whistleblower about all of the Epstein stuff because those stories were killed. So if we're going to have the conversation about the outrage about whistleblowers, you work with CBS stuff. You work with CBS to out a whistleblower who came up with a story that's kind of shady.
Can we stick to?
No, but you work with them. That broke this morning.
Can we stick to what she asked in the question? Just because if we start getting off on
But my point is one of hypocrisy. And again, a big part of why I wrote the book is because there's so much hypocrisy out there. Now, I understand that the mainstream media is left-leaning. I don't think anyone's ever debated that or doubted that for a long time. But they've gotten rid of the pretense of objectivity at this point. There is no, they're like, you know what, we're just going to be the marketing wing of the other side.
Just let me interrupt. If you talk about hypocrisy, you seem fine with people leaking information if it makes you and your father look good, because WikiLeaks
this has been going on for the other side
is
forever.
a cyber terrorist, right? And I think a Russian puppet. You are fine promoting his stuff and your dad praising him on the campaign trail if it makes you look good. So how is this whistleblower who went through the right channels, how are you now releasing his name and putting his life in danger, but WikiLeaks was doing the right thing?
If I can, just first, thank you so much.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. So here's the thing. There's a lot of context to it, and I hear what you're saying. It's a fair enough question because he may be a private citizen, but nevertheless, he is the son of the president of the United States.
And a campaign surrogate.
And somebody who works as a campaign surrogate, but not officially, with the campaign. But nevertheless, when you look at this facts and you look at the circumstance, you look at, in fact, even on this show, the first day after the election, it said, and now let's start with impeachment. This has been something that's been going, it's been a concerted effort by a lot of people who are disappointed by the results of the election to undo it and remove a duly elected president of the United States, number one. Number two, when you look, well, it was on this show on November 9th.
No, actually, it wasn't.
You guys talked about
We've had all kinds of. Wait, see, I listened. Now I'm asking for the same. We are an opinion show.
Correct.
That's what we do.
Correct.
What you seem to have done and feels very disingenuous because you can't say I'm a private citizen and yet you're in the middle of all of this. You brought to the FBI folks, everybody talked to you. You're part of this. So when you release a name like that, even if it was out for 10 days or 20 days, you have to know that people, if you're talking about the white powder that your family got, this guy's family's getting the same thing. And why is it okay for one and not both?
We don't know that that's actually happening to him, first and foremost.
Well, we don't know that it happened to you.
But
we're taking your name. We're taking your...
It was reported.
It was a case.
Stop yelling. Stop yelling.
Not to yell. I can hear
you. It's like the miracle ear for Christmas.
Kimberly, you're a lawyer.
Yes.
And we've known each other. You were a former prosecutor. I mean, did you advise your boyfriend that it is a federal crime to out a whistleblower?
I didn't advise him that it was a federal crime, but I did come out of the bathroom and say, I left you alone for 10 minutes. What happened when Mamacita's gone? Because by the
it's not a federal crime. It's only a federal crime for the IG to do it. That's in the statute. So that's, you can't,
no, that's not true.
You can't
That's
run
a lie.
It is not.
Let me show you the other side.
True. Under U.S. Code
Okay, stop. Everybody stop. It's hard to hear.
Under U.S.
So
Code
finish
Section
that.
1505, it is a crime.
It's not accurate. Just ask Greta Paul. He went
my
into
law
great
degree
detail
says it is, but nevertheless.
But he's not the individual that first did it.
But my question is, you did speak to him about that.
I talked to him, no, not prior to. After I said, what happened? He said, well, they're saying that I released this and I outed. But if you look at the facts, and the facts are that the name was out there. I'm not saying, okay, I understand what you're saying, that perhaps, okay, it wasn't the most prudent decision to retweet an article. But I'm going to tell you something. When we talk about transparency, the President of the United States released the transcript of exactly what happened in that phone call. The whistleblower is giving his opinion or her opinion of what transpired.
I'd like to talk about that.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'd like to talk about that.
That's out there to say. He's not trying to hide anything. And thank God he transcribed it.
I'd like to talk about that. Actually, let me ask you, do you regret retweeting that?
I don't think I should have to forego my First Amendment rights. I didn't want to create hysteria, but if I'm reading an article, be like, the name's out there. I didn't even realize that this thing's some sort of big sort of secret.
You don't regret doing that?
I don't regret doing it. No, I don't think I should have to forego my First Amendment rights. It's out there. I read it in an article. I've been reading it for a week. I saw it on the Drudge Report. This is not some secret, but to then say, because it's Donald Trump Jr., because he's an outspoken guy, to then create, why was there no outrage when Drudge Report, which is a major website, probably the largest aggregator of media news in America, he puts it out there a few days ago, and no, crickets, no problem with that.
Because probably not a lot of people knew that it was out there, but once you put it out,
on Drudge, but millions of people see Drudge today.
I'm saying to you, listen, man, I don't know how many people here read the Drudge Report. I don't know. But I'm saying a lot more people know your name than know the Drudge Report. You're assuming. I know it's a fair point.
Let's move on.
I understand.
I want to talk about the memo of the call, because I don't believe it's a transcript. In the memo of the call that was released from the White House between your father and the Ukraine president, your father said, I would like you to do us a favor, though, because our country has been through a lot and Ukraine knows a lot about it. And we have the entire part of the memo here. The other thing, there's a lot of talk about Biden's son, that Biden stopped the prosecution, and a lot of people want to find out about that. So whatever you can do with the Attorney General would be great. This is the basis of the impeachment inquiry. Why is that a sham?
The whole
Which is what you're calling
first of all, because nothing was withheld. The other guy on the other side actually said, I have no idea what you're talking about. No one knew any aid was even being withheld. the other guy in the Ukraine, in terms of aid being withheld. So no one knew about these
But
things.
that's not true. That's a lie. Military aid was withheld.
Yeah.
No one knew about it in the Ukraine, so there was no quid pro quo. You see all the other aspects of this coming up.
It was withheld.
There's been no prima facie case made whatsoever for impeachment. The transcript is there. The witnesses are coming forward. There was no bipartisan support. So that hearing is
Kimberly,
going
the
forward.
military aid was withheld.
But not because of that reason.
And again, the other side didn't even know that it was withheld.
The timeline has been clearly demonstrated.
But that's a lie. There have been several ambassadors that have testified.
That have testified they had no idea that there was any quid pro quo whatsoever.
Did Gordon Sondland lie then when he changed his testimony yesterday?
Well, I don't know why he changed his testimony. It's sort of interesting. It almost, he says something.
He's afraid of
on the
perjury.
record.
He's afraid of going to jail.
Or he's afraid of being attacked, like so many of us have for so long, by a vicious left that's running a one-sided sham thing. I haven't seen him doing a one-sided thing.
Children. Stop yourselves. There'll be more with
good times.
them two.
Junior.
With the two of them when we get back. With these two. Megan?
Yes, and if you could let me speak, I would appreciate it. Mr. Trump.
All right, dear listener, this gets really good right here. This is Meghan McCain. Okay, and if you would let me speak, I really appreciate it. She's got daggers coming out of her eyes right now. I continue with Meghan McCain. This is really important stuff. I think Don Jr. handled it well. We're going to be curious about what you think about it. Here we go. Let me back it up one more again with Meghan McCain. Oh, my God. Here we go.
Let me speak, I would appreciate it. Mr. Trump, a lot of Americans in politics miss character, and a lot of people miss the soul of this country. You and your family have hurt a lot of people and put a lot of people through a lot of pain, including the Khan family, who is a Gold Star family that I think should be respected for the loss of their son. Does all of this make you feel good?
I don't think any of that makes me feel good, but I do think that we got into this because we wanted to do what's right for America. My father has been working tirelessly to bring back the American dream, who've watched politicians with no business experience send that American dream abroad to countries that hate our guts. He's brought jobs back. He's created unprecedented levels of unemployment numbers for African Americans, for Hispanic Americans. This is fact. You can argue it, but this is fact.
No, it's not fact.
For women, if you got the question, let me finish it. For women, all-time high startup businesses. So I understand that he's controversial. I understand that he's offended a lot of people, but I also understand he took on the establishment, and that's the premier sin in American politics these days, to do that.
I do want to know, if the question, I understand.
By the way, I'm not happy that people interpret it that way. I don't think that's our intention.
Character in and again, I will let you speak. Character in politics, I believe, is important. It was how I was raised. It's the way I view the lens of America. And I understand what you're saying about policy, but when you're talking about attacking Gold Star families who have given the ultimate sacrifice more than any of in this room have given, and you put them through pain, does it make you feel like
and I know he does a lot with Gold Star families, and he calls a lot of those Gold Star families, and he has a lot of care for those people. But when he's under constant attack by the same people, when he's under attack by the establishment, when he's under attack by this, the reality is he's a counterpuncher. And as a conservative, I would hope that you would appreciate that conservatives haven't been known for fighting back for a very long time. They've ceded ground to the liberals and the liberal elite for decades by not actually fighting back. So I understand we can keep going back to character. I think he has great character. I think my family has character.
Her father.
I understand that, and I'm sorry about that. They did have differences. I agree with that.
But I think just
and again, I'm sorry for the loss. I think you lost your aunt last night, so I do apologize for that as well.
And so finally, we get to the bottom of it. It's about how Trump disparaged her father, oh my God, because they disagreed politically, and McCain was an absolute shitheel to Donald Trump in terms of releasing the transcript to BuzzFeed. That's exactly what he did. That's what John McCain did. Or not the transcript, I'm sorry, the dossier, right? So no wonder he had an axe to grind with McCain. And now we get to the bottom of what this interrogation by Meghan McCain, I'd appreciate it if you let me speak. Oh my God. We get to the bottom of what it's about, and let's finish it up, and we'll get back in the saddle.
Last night. Yes, I did.
McCain, Morgan.
Thank you. It's just, for me, it would not have been worth it. This would not have been worth it. And I think people can go to the moment when my dad had stopped someone from saying Obama was a Muslim, and the pain, inflicting pain on so many people wouldn't have been worth it to me or my family to the White House. So I just want to know, is it worth it?
Well, listen, I think it depends on the hat that I'm wearing. You know, for me as a citizen, as a father of kids in New York City, you know, it hasn't exactly been, you know, peaches and cream for us either. But you know what, it is worth it when I do go around the country and I see people who are affected by these policies, who are getting to live their American dream again, who are seeing wage growth for the lowest levels go up. When I see it happening with those people and they tell me their stories, how they're so happy that they voted for my father, that they're so happy that he actually had the guts to take on those people, to not just accept the status quo, to not just accept that.
Now a show. Yeah. So here's what I would say. I understand. I know your father for so many years. I considered him, yes, and your grandmother. And I tell you, no finer human being. I considered him my friend. I miss him. I understand your loss. Yesterday was the anniversary of my mother passing. I lost my father Thanksgiving night. He woke me up with a kiss and said, "Princess, I know this is a hard day for you." It breaks my heart to hear anybody say anything about your father. I understand that. And I know how difficult it is. And I know how difficult it is for him. When everybody is attacking his family, they're out in front of our apartment, they want to put him in jail. I understand that, having lost both my parents to cancer. This is tough. I would like there to be more civility.
Can somebody just say they're sorry?
Can
somebody just say they're sorry?
And I honor your father's service.
So my final note, and then I don't have any more questions for you, is just, if you believe that, and Kimberly, we work together and I do know you, try and bring civility back then. You can do it. You have this, you're in the White House.
And you're right. And you know what, guys? It goes both ways. And can you imagine, honestly, and you know, you guys, you ran for president. It was absolutely brutal. They're up for re-election again. 93% negative coverage in the mainstream media about President Trump. They don't want to talk about the successes. I know the president, I know their family for 14
you guys are at the top.
years.
You guys
I stand for them like I stand for you and your family. I get what
in all fairness, for 8 years of Obama, there was zero criticism for anything.
I'm sorry. Now, what you can't do is you can't change the past. Obama became president, and the first thing that was said to him from the other side is, we're going to make sure you're a one-term president. We're not going to do anything to help. Well, I'm sorry, wait. I just want to say, who said it? I believe Mitch McConnell said it.
Guys.
And that you can look up.
But guys, look at what's going on right now.
But I'm just saying to you that this is part of being president. I'm sorry.
19 minutes after inauguration. Come on, guys.
Part of being president is having a pair that can take whatever heat comes towards you.
I promise you, my father's got a better.
Oh, like Obama, right?
No sitting president has taken the heat that Donald Trump has taken.
That is bulldog. Yes. Stop. Go, Joy.
Okay. Just to her point, he also called Mexicans rapists. He made.
He's
Wait a second.
some coming across the border, and that's a fact. Look at what's going on at the border.
Let her finish.
Called some Mexicans rapists. He attacked the handicapped. He bragged about
All right, this is good.
Listen, we heard the access. Hold on. We heard the access tape where he bragged about grabbing women by their genitalia. She's talking about, that's what Megyn is talking about. She's talking about lowering the discourse to his level, which is horrible for this country. Even if people are working, we don't want to have a country like that. Do you understand that?
We've all
they don't
done
like
things.
The vessel or the semantics of the but nevertheless, look at the result.
We've all done things that we regret. I mean, if we're talking about bringing the discourse down, Joy, you've worn blackface. Whoopi,
Dang.
No,
you said that Roman Polanski.
I'm sorry, and don't. If you do it.
Roman Polanski.
Welcome back to HSP, episode number 59. Dear listener, that was pretty epic, Russ.
Yeah, it was.
I always ask myself how I would respond in those sort of situations.
Right. Me too. And by the way, sorry about the hard cutoff. I was not going to give Whoopi Goldberg the dignity of her response to this because Joy Behar did wear blackface. This is provable objectively. Listen, as a black woman, I know what blackface is, okay? I recognize blackface, and she didn't wear blackface. Yeah, she did. You can couch it in terms of...
As if whites are incapable, they don't have eyes, they're incapable of seeing color.
Right. Yes.
I mean, the racist implication there.
Right.
I mean, this is actually what this is exactly what I would do on a show like that, is call out all of their racist and sexist implications and contradictory premises, which undergird virtually everything that they say.
Yes, sir. That is factually correct. And man, this preening up by Meghan McCain, like all this pain that you've brought to so many people, to me, I just, I was raised in a political family and we were just taught to be kind. And I just don't think for me the pain is worth it. Yeah? Really? You think so, Meghan McCain? How about those 100,000 dead civilian Iraqis that your father brought pain to? They're dead. What do you think about that pain? What do you think about real pain? Not this virtue signaling fake psychological torture that I'm going through with this discourse. Oh my God. I mean, man, it was a hit job, Luke. And I think that Kimberly and Don Jr. did really well. And they had crowd support, as it turned out. I mean, it was about half and half in the audience of The View. It was great. It was great.
Yeah, it's actually, did we got the "this isn't a mega rally" comment in there, right?
Yeah, no, we didn't. That happened toward the end. Dang it.
Oh, damn.
I know. I don't know exactly where that is. But you tell dear listener about what it was that Joy said.
Oh, well, Don Jr. was going on about something and people started cheering and she just interrupts and she goes, "This is not a mega rally, okay?"
Shut up, okay? Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, Meghan McCain is such a classic example of why you never kowtow to the left. You don't give them anything, even just in principle, don't give them anything because, they're all, just as Meghan is saying, why not do what she is asking, blah, blah, blah. Next week it'll be something else and they'll be excoriating her.
Right.
About being a Republican or something. You have nothing to gain by compromising with somebody as dishonest as a Joy Behar or a Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. And I mean, hell, Joy Behar already called Meghan McCain a bitch on air, right? You think she's not going to be right back to that in 2 weeks? Of course she will.
Yeah,
even though
exactly.
Meghan McCain genuflected, even though.
Yeah. She just perfectly embodies this cocky right wing. She is the perfect puppet that the left needs, that the left wants. And Trump is not that. Rand Paul is not that. And Ted Cruz is not that. And this is why they hate them all.
Right.
Because they aren't the McCains of the world who are their little puppets that they can just sort of, oh, okay, yeah, you won this election. That's okay. All right, we still control you. Just don't get out of line, okay?
Right.
We'll be patient. We'll be waiting over here until your term's up. Just make sure you don't get out of line.
Indeed. Yeah.
Or we're gonna have to spank you.
Yeah.
That's how they treat Meghan McCain's grandfather.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And she's going on to Don Jr. about, was it worth it? This is the thing, is like, it's not a question to John Jr. or to Donald Trump, is it worth it or not? This is not a, this is not a choice. Like when you ask somebody that question, what you are implying is that there was a choice.
Right.
And that they chose that path. In Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle wrote that what constitutes responsibility is that whatever action you took, you chose to take it. If you didn't choose to take it, there's no way you could be responsible for whatever effect that action caused.
Right.
And so when we talk about something like the way Trump deals with the media or the wall, and we'll get in, this is actually a good segue into the Groypers, or dealing with handouts for immigrants. You've got Elizabeth Warren coming out talking about how immigrants should get access to healthcare. Anybody with any immigration status should get access to healthcare. We are not choosing to build the wall. They chose to build the wall because we are trying to patch the dam.
Right.
We didn't choose to drop nuclear weapons on Japan. The Japanese emperor chose to drop nuclear weapons on Japan. He chose to necessitate us to have to do that for our own survival.
That's right.
We don't bear that responsibility. Trump doesn't bear the responsibility for what's going on with all the stuff that Meghan McCain is talking about.
Right.
So, yeah, all of it's just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, man. And, two comments before we move on to the Groypers that, listening to what you were saying that I just thought of, right? Do you remember back in 2008 in the debates when McCain was the nominee? He was the Republican nominee debating Obama, right? And I can't unfortunately remember the context of how this comment happened, but McCain ended up pointing at Obama and he goes, "That one does not." That's what he did. He said, "That one does not." And he was excoriated as a racist for pointing at a black man and referring to him as that one. Okay? As if he's referring to that one African American. That wasn't the context whatsoever. But Meghan McCain, 11 years later, is happy to grovel before these people because comment number 2, "Oh my God, it's so much better to lose graciously and gracefully and maintain kind civility than it is to fight and win like your father." Oh my God. You see what she's doing? She's trying to bring them back to heel. And Don Jr. and Kimberly both parried it perfectly. Kimberly with a woman's kindness, Don Jr. with the steel, the hardened chin, the steely resolve of his father, and his own wits as well. Swatted it right down.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what, what else has the right been really good at for the last couple decades other than losing graciously? They've perfected that.
Indeed. Haven't they, though? Yeah. Including one John McCain. You know, he lost, but he sure was gracious, wasn't he? Isn't that more important?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's, it's just, people like this are pathetic. And there's a reason she's on The View.
There sure is. Absolutely there is. Yeah.
Because they need her. I mean, it's so telling. It's so appropriate that she's on The View. She's the perfect little puppet for these Joy Beharts, you know. They can beat her up and slap her and make her look like an idiot one week. And then the next week, they're like, "Oh, yeah, see, she's talking about how you should be losing graciously."
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Tell us, Don Jr., what's wrong with that?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's so pathetic.
It is pathetic, man. This validation from, see, we've got a conservative on the show. We're totally valid. Oh, my God. That's what it is. It's false proof of validity. So
and it's bidirectional.
Yes,
she's over there going, "See, I'm on a liberal show.
Exactly.
I'm reasonable."
Exactly. See, I know how to communicate with these people and be gracious. You see? Yeah, you're absolutely right. The View is nothing else if not a virtue signal fest, and that is,
dude, it's
all it is.
So disgusting.
It is, dude. It is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So many feels on that show.
Aren't there?
I mean, but what else would it be?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, moving into the Groypers.
Yeah. So this is one of the topics we covered in the Busted Show, dear listener, and we had so much trouble that I was distracted. And I know the basic facts on the ground about what the Groypers are, but Luke had to red pill me about a lot of things that I frankly forgot. So man, Luke, could you kind of do it again? Could you kind of explain the Groyper movement in the first place? I know it's about Nick Fuentes and his followers and stuff like that. I know that they're hostile to Charlie Kirk and other conservatives.
Dan Crenshaw. Basically everybody that we like.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. They shouted him down at Rudder Tower. Did you hear about that on the A&M campus? They came up and shouted him down. Yeah, they did. There's a supposedly video of it that I've not seen. Happened Friday of last week, November 1st, All Saints Day, I believe. So, yeah.
Well, I saw them doing something at some event of his, but I mean, dude, A&M looks so different now. I wouldn't even recognize Rudder Tower if I saw it.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, it could have been there. I don't know, but okay. So where does the name Groyper come from? It comes from a toad rather than a frog. So Pepe came from a frog cartoon. Groyper came from a toad cartoon.
I'll be damned. I never knew that. Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Groyper is the one that's kind of like he looks kind of like Pepe. He's super fat and he's got his hands intertwined underneath his chin and he's kind of smirking.
Oh yeah. Yeah, totally.
That's the Groyper.
Oh, wow.
It's not new. It's been around since 2015 or something.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, Russ, 4chan is so shit tier at this point. I do not spend much time on it.
Yeah.
I don't watch Nick Fuentes a whole lot. It's just, I mean, I watch them when there's a reason why I need to, or there's all these guys, Paul Joseph Watson, Nick Fuentes, I watch them out of an obligation of needing to know how they are changing and shaping their views as an intellectual, or as somebody in the idea sphere, we'll put it that way. Because I don't even know that I'd call some of them intellectuals, but people, prominent people in the idea sphere, you could not argue that, against that, rather. I watch them enough to kind of know where they're going and which direction they're headed, but I used to, 2 years ago, I could have been like, oh yeah, this is exactly how this meme came to be and blah, blah, blah. But now it's enough for me just to know what it is. I don't need to know the origins and exactly how it came to be. So sure. I don't really know how it developed, how this developed into being Groypers. Maybe Pepe became a little bit stale, which is a shame because Pepe will never become stale.
Right.
But yeah, anyways, so then, so Nick Fuentes, I guess, put out some sort of call to action, asking individuals in his sort of camp. And by the way, dude, why don't you tell dear listener who Nick Fuentes is? Because you can give a better description for that.
All right. Yeah, Nick Fuentes came up in the early RSBN days, Right Side Broadcasting Network, okay? And he was one of their anchors for their studio show on Right Side Broadcasting. And Right Side Broadcasting's claim to fame was that in the early days of the Trump campaign, they took donations and used that money to travel to Trump rallies so that they could cover them entirely. They also pioneered the crowd shots at Trump rallies so that you could see when you're watching it online, unlike Fox does, just how many people are there in the house. They did all of these things, and they became very successful until they were shut down by YouTube. Their entire YouTube channel was canceled, and now, as far as I know, there's really not much happening with RSBN right now. But he was one of their early anchor people that came out, and he was very young, 20 years old, something like that. Always wore a suit and all this type of thing.
No, dude, he was like 18 at the time.
Was he 18? Dang. Okay.
He's 21 now.
Oh, okay. Wow. Just became eligible to drink, man. Just became illegal. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that tracks. I mean, he was very, very young. And he was irreverent, funny, all of these types of things. Definitely embodied the audience which RSBN wanted to attract. He was all of those things, but then he came out hardcore alt-right, hardcore white nationalist, which is ironic because he is, 25% Mexican, 50% Mexican, something like that? One of the two.
Yeah, I think he's like 20% or something.
Okay, yeah.
Or 30% actually.
Yeah. He is not what I would call national socialist. He's not that, but he is very much white identitarian. And so when he came
recently he came out and said he actually would prefer a monarchy.
Oh, that's right. He did. I'd read that. That's true. He did. Yeah. So like, and that's what he is. And when he came out hardcore white nationalist, well, RSBN had to let him go. And they did. And he started up his own show. And I believe he fumbled around with a couple of shows before landing on this show called America First. And that he still has America First, right? I'm not even sure that
that's
he does.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, he was kind of one of these that was anti-Trump and then pro-Trump and then anti-Trump and then pro-Trump. And I'm guessing, Luke, I don't know, but I would guess based on his ideology right now, he would have to be signature and innately and intrinsically anti-Trump based on the types of things he says right now. Is that right or wrong? Would you know about that?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. It's like, irrespective of his opinion of Trump, he's definitely anti Dan Crenshaw.
Yeah.
Anti Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Anti a lot of these kinds of people that we should otherwise be friendly with at the very least,
sure,
if not support. So, I mean, because he's anti all these people, I don't see how at this point he could be pro-Trump. Although when they show up to these events, they're all wearing MAGA hats. So I don't know if I don't know if they're doing that ironically or if they're, man, I feel like such a boomer all of a sudden, dude. Like this is something like 2 years ago I would have been like totally in the know about.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I can't listen to it. It's just such a waste of time to listen to them about a lot of things. It's just shit tier content. I can't deal with it.
Yeah, same here. I watched Nick Fuentes' video where, as Luke was describing a moment ago, he has a lot of followers, a lot of people in his audience and on his Twitter and on his YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. And he mobilized them against Charlie Kirk when he was giving a keynote discussion about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, somewhere in there, right? And they were asking him, hardcore questions about why does he love Israel so much, these types of things. And he did a live stream of the show. And dude, his live stream, like his shouting and throwing his headphones off and all of this laughing, and
I watched that.
It was just too much, dude. It was not my kind of show. And I guess maybe, he would call us boomers and all that kind of stuff because, he's
but
younger than we are.
It's not even that funny.
That's the thing. It's not funny. It's not compelling.
Yeah,
it's not intellectual. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, if you're young and you live with your parents and
which he does.
If you're young, you live with your parents and you're a virgin and like all you do is spend all your time on the internet and all your friends and everything is on the internet and like something like this. Yes, it's going to be a high. Oh man, that's so funny, dude. It's like, some of us have actual lives outside of that and we're stimulated in many other ways than, listening to a guy ask Charlie Kirk if anal sex helps, advance the efforts against the culture war.
Right. Right.
And it's and then he's like, oh my God. Yeah, look, he's got a crucifix in his hand. Oh, that's so good. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's exactly how he was.
Dude, you literally this, it really is his existence basically. But I mean, it's like, dude, get some life experience,
That's really what it is, Luke. He is devoid of life experience, work history. In a lot of ways, I'm really, I really admire the guy because he's 21 years old, and I did not think that much about politics back when I was 21. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, of course, not hating on him in that respect.
Yeah. But I mean, then again, when I was 21, that was pre-Trump, and post-Trump, maybe now kids really do think about these things because the political discourse and landscape has changed so much that they're captivated by it. But nonetheless, his lack of any type of cultural life experience is palpable in everything he says. He's never had a job. I mean, except for RSBN and running his own YouTube channel. He's never had a true employer. He's never had sex. He's never had a girlfriend. I don't know that he's ever had a date outside of something like Homecoming or something like that. And listen, again, I don't want to rag on the guy. My point is this, that his lack of experience is palpable in everything he says, And so he would just turn around and call me and Luke old boomers, right? Oh, you stupid boomers. You're just so old. Oh my God. And exploit that youth advantage that he has because that's all he has.
Well, it's not even an advantage; it's a disadvantage in my opinion.
In his case, a disadvantage. That is correct. Yeah.
I mean, in virtually every case, it's a disadvantage.
In my experience, yes, that's true.
Yeah, because dude, I was so shit tier even when I was 30. No, actually, that's not true. When I was I didn't become great again until I was 28, 29. And that's when I really discovered philosophy and really began to red pill myself. And I mean, that's a journey and I still am, man. I'm reading lots of crazy, deep stuff on epistemology and history and stuff like this. And the more I learn, the more shapes my views. And I'm okay, is this really how to organize knowledge and, hierarchies of knowledge and principles and volition and all this stuff, and all of that colors everything I do. Dude, that is so far and beyond and miles beyond where I was when I was 27, 28.
Yeah.
And when I was 20 or 21, yeah, sure. I mean, I wasn't immersed in all of this stuff, but the thing is that your gaze upon the world is so narrow at that young of age with such a lack of experience, life experience. When you gaze upon the world, the colors through which you see it are so few that you almost have no frame of reference through which to interpret it.
Right. You've not been able to apply any of the schoolwork to real life. You have not had the time and the experience and the opportunity to do it. You know what I mean? And definitely resonates with Nick Fuentes. It really does. You know, this total lack of application of principle, philosophy, cultural knowledge, political knowledge, anything to real life. You know?
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, it's philosophy, it's history. It's also stuff that's like, yeah, having jobs, like traveling, dating people. This kind of stuff brings, I mean, I dated many people, women, before I like really understood what I liked and what I don't like, you know? And I had to try, I'm still traveling, you know, and to figure out what I like and what I don't like and get things out of my system, like living in cool places like San Francisco. And right up until I'm like, yeah, this isn't fun anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Living in Europe, here's a good example. There was this Groyper that went to this Charlie Kirk event, and he asked him this question. I could probably find it really quick and send you the audio to play it. But the question was just riddled. It was a parade of contradictions and contradicting premises and just language that didn't match starts to finish, you know? So he's asking Charlie Kirk, you know, how would you defend these American values? And then he ends the question with, so how would you defend these white European values? And I'm sitting there going, we started the question with American values. You ended it with white European values. And I'm sitting here wondering, do you even understand how different Europeans are from Americans? Yeah. You know, and I think I may have talked about this on a previous show. You know, I've got one of my good friends. He moved back now, unfortunately, to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. But, he was one of my good friends here, and I always joked around but it was a joke that was made out of seriousness, which was that we had, me being from Texas and him from Saudi Arabia, we had more culturally in common than I do with Germans. And my family comes from Germany. Right. And the reason is because, Texans have this abundance mentality, big cars, lots of space, air conditioning, food, tons of food. This is their lifestyle. And Saudi Arabians are much the same way. They're also an oil-based culture, love their cars, their space, their air conditioning, all this stuff. And he and I are in Germany, again, from that's where my family came from originally in the 1800s was Germany. And we're here looking around and we're just both scratching our heads going like, what is wrong with these people?
Yeah.
So, I would ask somebody like that, what in the hell are you even on about? What are you talking about? Like, through what observation are you making the claim that white Europeans and white Americans share some sort of value set outside of religion? And even then, the approach to religion is still even very different.
Yep.
Americans are very morally religious. Europeans are very doctrine religion. They go to church, on Easter and Christmas, and sometimes they get married in the church and so on. But they don't give a shit about the morality. They couldn't care less about the morality that the church teaches. It's totally just something on paper for them. Whereas like Americans, they're like, oh yeah, I'm wearing my, what is it called? My promise ring and this. And so, it's like, Americans actually try to take that stuff seriously. Europeans don't care about that, So it's like, even when they're going on, and this is another thing about Nick Fuentes and a lot of these other people, the Groypers, they're like they're trying to pick up Christianity again.
Yes,
they're trying to champion Christianity. And I realize that the reason that they're trying to champion Christianity is because when they go on about whiteness, that's their identity. So first of all, they lack an identity. They lack a sense of values. They haven't developed personal values. They haven't developed things with which they can individually identify. So they are underdeveloped individuals seeking an identity, and they're given that with whiteness. So so being white is something that they can be, and that gives them a sense of identity. But that sense of identity doesn't give them a morality. It doesn't give them, okay, well, this is what I am. This is my sense of being, but it doesn't give me a sense of doing. It doesn't give me a sense of action. So I need some sort of code of values here. So they turned back on their white identity and said, well, what have white people done? Oh, Christianity.
That is so smart. That is so damn smart. You're absolutely right. That is so intelligent. Yeah.
So they're turning back into their roots in terms of Christianity. So they're picking Christianity back up. And this is what's interesting is that, and this is where I find the interesting clash between the Groypers and the Charlie Kirks is that Charlie Kirk went to the objectivists, and not necessarily went to the objectivists, but he got a lot of his talking points from Austrian economists. Yaron Brook, who is the chairman of the Ayn Rand Institute, that's very atheist. So you've got Charlie Kirk, who's taking all these arguing points for capitalism, and they're secular arguing points, and he's trying to mash them together with the Christian morality, which is inherently contradictory. And then you've got somebody like from the Groypers, which are really formerly alt-right people who are just more concerned about optics and branding. You can't do, we can't come out and say race war now, 1488. We can't do that. So we need to tone it down a bit so we're more palatable. That's what the Groypers are. And
yeah,
so they're coming out and then calling Charlie Kirk out on his, well, you say you're a Christian, but you're up there sharing a stage with a black gay man. How, and then the gay guy's like, well, I'm a Christian too. And they're like, well, no, you're not Charlie Kirk. How are you reconciling this? And they're holding their cross up in the air and, figuratively clutching their pearls. And so this is the interesting clash, is that you've got Charlie Kirk, who pulled a bunch of economic arguing points and political arguing points that are mostly secular in the defense of freedom, and then getting called out on his contradictions because he divorced the philosophy which led up to that from the politics, and that underlying philosophy which justifies all of that. You've got these like now staunch young kids who are trying to pick Christianity back up for the moral teachings, and they're saying like, look, we're in this together, we're a group, you can't leave people behind. What's up with Israel? You're giving $3 billion in aid to Israel, and why are you championing that? You should be taking care of our people first. So it's this like massive argument of collectivism on both sides. But Charlie Kirk is over here trying to somehow reconcile that with Paul, and that's why he finds himself in trouble, and he's having a really hard time dealing with this. I think Dan Crenshaw's having a hard time dealing with it for other reasons, I think political reasons, but Charlie Kirk is having a hard time dealing with this for philosophical reasons, and it's because he divorced the philosophy of capitalism from the politics of capitalism. He took the politics and left the philosophy behind, and now he finds himself struggling to keep his head above water when he gets called out on these contradictions.
Right. And also, I would say, resorting to these unfortunate tactics which he has adopted, those tactics of the left, shutting down discussions with Groypers, trying to ban them from his events, and, he is so kind of blowing around out in the wind because of his, again, youth and lack of experience and lack of philosophy. Once again, just like Nick Fuentes, even though he has about 7 or 8 years on Nick Fuentes, right? He has to resort to the leftist tactics to shut down debate. And
he has
that's
no
unfortunate.
argument.
He has no argument.
Yeah.
That's
if I were to make a case for why this was a good thing, these Groypers. Now, I don't agree with the Groypers. I think they're idiots. I think they lack life experience. I had to think about it a little bit this week, how I would argue against it. I can give at least one example here in a couple minutes. So it's not like, I would destroy them. I had to these are valid arguments. Let me think about that. And I had to think my way through it and logic my way through it to make sure my thinking was right. But and then once I hashed it all out, I was like, my God, they're just all over the place. But oh God, I forgot where I was going with that. I was like, so in that moment, that mode of thought, that I forgot even where I was going with that.
Dang.
Yeah. I mean, I can. What was I saying right before that, Russ?
You were talking about. Oh man, you know what? That's funny because I was pulling up the debate right when you said it. I don't know, man. I don't know. Start from scratch. Sorry, brother. Sorry.
It's all good.
It's going to come back in a minute because I was really into it. Hold up. I was just distracted temporarily. It is getting yourself into the mindset of the Groyper and Charlie Kirk and how you would argue these positions.
The positive. Yeah, if there's a positive aspect of this. My bad. Sorry. Yeah, I got too derailed there. If there's a positive aspect to this, it's sharpening the sword. It's making Charlie Kirk realize, and to some extent Dan Crenshaw, because interestingly, I've never seen Dan Crenshaw get as frustrated. Sorry, I got something in my throat. As frustrated as he has with them. He's like getting visibly frustrated when they go up and ask him questions. But yeah, and he is like always cool, calm, and collected. But if there's one good thing that I would argue for this, it's that that they are sharpening their swords. They have to sharpen their swords. Charlie Kirk's sitting over there going, "Oh man, I have no answer for any of this. Like, what the hell am I going to say?" But it's quite easy, really, because you have to look at their motivations and their premises, right? So, like one example, did you find that? Oh, you mean the GBS debate? That's what you're looking for.
I've got it. Yeah, I found it.
Yeah. No, there was one questioner that asked Charlie Kirk. He was like 70% of. Let me see. Let me hold on. I've got it on my Twitter right here. He said that. Yeah, he said we need. He basically was making the case that we need more white immigrants from Europe to preserve our white European heritage, our white European values. And he was saying we need to curb immigration because 70% of immigrants vote Democrat. And I'm sitting here going, what in the hell do you think those white Europeans are going to vote for when they get to the United States?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is the stupidity on their side of the arguments, which is that, they think that like, oh, we're all white, it's peaches and cream. And it's like, move to Germany, live in England. Like they are so much worse off than Americans are. They are like borderline poverty compared to the way Americans live.
Right. And that's something that our friend in England has red-pilled me about is, really the white lower class really adheres to their social programs a lot more than the immigrants do. You know what I mean? And that's just cold hard fact that you can see in anecdotal evidence,
Totally. At 100%. Yeah. I mean, the German dream is not to, the American dream is to be free, to live your life, to pursue values, to reach, as Maslow would have said, self-actualization. That's the American dream. The German dream is to survive, find security, get a government job, work for a government-run sewage facility or work for the town hall, get a government job. You're going to get your, 2,500 to 3,000 euros a month before taxes. And you're going to get your nice benefits, your 30 days vacation, your health care. Like that's the German dream, is to abandon working for yourself and work for the government. That's the best you can do. So it's like, what are they going to do? Come to America and like start working nights and weekends and enroll in community college so they can go to a 4-year, No, they're going to come. They're going to say, Jesus Christ, this is awful.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's not monolithic, right? Like if we were to say, for example, okay, we're giving visas to people from South Africa because there is a white genocide going on in South Africa. We want the Boers coming to the United States. Would they come to the United States and vote for social programs? Probably not. Probably what they would do is buy land and get back to doing what they have done for generations, which is working hard and farming. What they know. Exactly. You know what I mean? So, and it kind of,
people gravitate towards what they know. And what people know in Europe is socialism and social programs. And that's it. They're going to come to America and they're going to say, well, I want to get back to what I know. And they're going to start doing that again.
Yes, absolutely so. And kind of a corollary of this theory that I would throw out there, one of the things that the Groypers has really been getting on Dan Crenshaw about and really getting on Charlie Kirk's back about really hard is about Israel. Okay?
Aid to Israel. Yeah.
Aid to Israel in particular, right? Why is it that Israel is more important to you than America, right? This is a popular question you're going to hear Groypers ask, right? Well, Charlie Kirk answers this question back, I love Israel. I love Israel.
That's such a bad answer.
It was awful. It was awful, okay? Israel in itself, in terms of this way of argumentation, because there are no principles here, right, cannot be used as a criticism, and it cannot be used as a defense. Criticism of Israel cannot be used as a credible attack. Love of Israel cannot be used as a credible defense because there are no principles herein underlying anything about what they say. For example,
on both sides.
On both sides, yeah. I probably would have answered the question if they came at me about Israel. Well, you know what? I think the funding that we give to Israel, that could definitely be debated, but they are a great ally of ours. I think Israel's pretty cool. But, yeah, we might support them a little bit more than we should. We could debate that in a future conversation. You know what I mean? And just leave it right there. Not, I love Israel. I love Israel. That was just so weak, man.
Yeah.
And dude, I've got to say, basically, Dan Crenshaw kind of took the same tack. Whereas, like, criticism of Israel is anti-American. What in the hell does that even mean, dude? Sharpen your sword, man.
Yeah. I mean, again, we like Crenshaw. I want to like Kirk, but he's, I don't know. I like Crenshaw a lot.
I do too.
And, he tried to give a very technical answer, which I respect, but when you're dealing with people like this, they don't want to hear about, it benefits us a lot for all these reasons and stuff. They're just like, no, you're avoiding the question.
Right.
Dude, I mean
they're shit posting. That's all they're doing. They're shit posting. That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
the Groypers, that is. Yeah.
Yeah. I would have answered it this way. I said, yeah, we should cut off all funding to Israel. We should also cut off all aid to white European countries as well.
That's the God tier answer. Yeah.
I am equally against that as I am cutting off aid to Israel. We should cut off and not just there. We should cut off aid to all countries everywhere.
Yep.
And I wouldn't stop there. I would end taxation entirely. The government should be voluntarily funded just the same way churches are voluntarily funded. When churches start making mistakes and doing stupid things, they lose all their money. So they answer to the people constantly to make sure they still get money. And, just because we ended the tithe doesn't mean that the Catholic Church doesn't exist anymore. It's bigger than it ever has been. In spite of the fact that they don't have a tithe anymore, we can end taxation, and we should. But the real question is that going to be my platform right now? No. That's ludicrous to even think about. Why would I start my platform with, let's end aid to Israel?
Yeah.
The only reason you would start there is because you hate Jews. That's the only reason you would start there.
Right.
So let me ask you this. Do you hate Jews? I would just say that. And if you do, well then yes, your platform would be end aid to Israel. But my platform is something that is an actual workable solution, and my principle isn't hate Jews. It's just like, let's try and shrink the government in general, and we need to do that incrementally over time. We can't just start with, in my case, eliminating taxation. That's my fundamental principle. Your fundamental principle is let's dissociate from Israel as much as possible.
Yeah.
And they're seeing, again, it goes to this life experience. They're seeing it so narrowly,
Yes.
I mean, and it's all, not only that, and it's not, and it's not, and Charlie Kirk too, and it's not only that, but it's $300 billion. It's like, I would like to know how much we give to Europe in general, like the European countries.
It's not even that much. Yeah, it's 38 billion in total. I think it's 38 billion. Is what
but the amount of money that we spend keeping troops here. Like Ramstein, I can guarantee you Ramstein Air Base is a lot more than $38 billion. That alone.
I know.
Maintaining that,
Yeah. The amount of aid we give to Africa, all the African countries, South America, all the South American countries, Asian countries. I mean,
if you, dude, if we pulled, Europe is so dependent. Macron gave that speech this week where he was like, oh my God. Like, did you hear about this, Russ?
No, I didn't. I don't know about this.
Macron, he was like sounding the alarm bells. He was like, we need to be independent of the US and we need to start an EU army. He just came straight out with it. It was like a big deal.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's not necessarily wrong. I don't think that they should do an EU army. I think that each country should actually start taking their own military more seriously. But if the U.S. pulled their troops out, Russia could just waltz into Europe and take it over, no problem. And people don't even realize that. Like, sure, maybe we only give $38 billion in aid to Europe, but the military aid that we give to them is far and away more. And going back to this Israel thing, it's like, they don't need $300 billion. And I would also say, I would agree with you. They don't need $300 billion. We're actually hurting them a lot more, and they're being hurt a lot more by the EU because they would love to just go roll over all of these countries. They could just obliterate all these countries around them if they were allowed to. So I would pull all aid, and then I would allow them to just take over the Middle East. Who cares? Just take it all over, because they're the only semblance of civilization in that territory, in that region.
Basically, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So who cares? And then they can't take over everybody. Blah blah blah. So okay, you wanna strip away all their aid, and then also still not allow them to defend themselves. Mm-hmm. So this, this is what I would. This is how I would argue with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and maybe someday we'll have that opportunity. I don't know. I'll be honest. I would love to have a discussion with Charlie Kirk. I respect him. I'm not sure I'd want to have a discussion with Nick Fuentes. I don't want to be insulted. You know what I mean? So
yeah, he would be. Yeah, I've seen him, the way he treats people. I don't know that I would want to deal with him. In terms of the respect, the insults, but also like there's a level of. Let me see. First of all, there's something that is a black and white for me is honesty. If I think someone's going to be intellectually honest,
I was just about to go there.
I'll talk to them, but I don't think he would be intellectually honest. I think if he felt he was losing, he would I don't think he's going to change his view. He'll change his views, but under his own accord, and not really based upon any new stimuli that he receives from somebody else. So. He'll change his views based upon something. I thought about this, and therefore I'm going to change my views because I thought about it. It's not because somebody else corrected me or told me something new. And
and thus far in these last 3 years, speaking of that, right? I do think that he is intellectually dishonest, as are most leftists. I really think so. But I have not really seen Nick Fuentes change his mind in accordance with any other principle other than pragmatism. Once again, pragmatism and opportunism. He goes where the wind blows. That's
the other thing. He's all about this optics. He's not gonna. He's too. He won't go. He won't go with like Mike Enoch and the TDS crew and the TRS people. He's got to do his own thing. He can't just jump in with them.
Right.
So he's got to differentiate himself somehow, and. And the way he's doing it is like, oh, well, we need to be pragmatic. We've got to be practical about our optics. And, all the more staunch alt-right people, again, the TRS guys, the Richard Spencers of the world, they're like, no, we don't care about optics. Like we care about principle. What do we stand for? And that's what we stand for. And we argue for that. Well, Nick Fuentes has always been like, well, no, I'm not necessarily race war now, but let's at least be more palatable. That's been his stance pretty much from the beginning.
For sure. Yeah, it has. Yep.
And that's what he's doing now. But the irony is that actually kind of worked. But it's not going to work for long. That's the thing. This is, as is the case with like any sort of like pragmatic, practical solution. It'll work for a little while, but it's not going to work forever. He's going to get.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. Yeah.
The alt-right, their strategy, they'll work for forever. Now, how accepted they are by the culture, that's a different story. But Nick Fuentes, this strategy is not going to work for forever.
Yep. Agreed.
Well, what else we got on the Groypers? I don't know that we have anything.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else, man. I appreciate the red pills about it. There are a lot of things you explained to me I didn't understand about them. And the show is actually getting a little bit long, man. So maybe we should just kind of roll into GBS, man. What do you think about it?
Yeah, let's do it, dude.
All right. So Luke pulled up a gem that happened it was posted on Halloween. I'm not sure when it happened. I think it actually happened on the 30th, the night before Halloween. Luke, you want to give us the intro about what's going on?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Yeah, bring it.
Yeah, sure. So I can't believe I didn't know. I always tell myself, I'm like, I need to do a better job of keeping up with debates and events and things like this. So I'm actually a little bit shocked that I didn't know about this. But I was on YouTube and just happened to stumble across Charlie Kirk debating Kyle Kulinski. Kyle Kulinski is one of the founders of the Justice League Democrats. And, I have to say, Russ, I watched some of it. I needed to do a little bit of quality assurance, a little bit of QA. So I watched it, and I actually kind of like Kyle Kulinski. This was actually not, I don't like his ideas, but I like his style, his approach. You know, he's not like super virtue signaling. He's pretty basic bitch when it comes to like, you know, we've got 500,000 veterans and homeless people in the street, and you're spending all this money over here. How does that even work? You know, It's like, oh God, okay, you know, but he's at least, and I will like, so that's one thing. You know, I was like, I was actually kind of a little bit surprised about how charismatic he is and person, you know, relatable. The other thing is that they both have a lot of respect for each other, and I found that very shocking as well. It's a very respectful debate. Now, I only watched about the first 30 minutes of it, so there's a lot that I haven't seen, but I just wanted to make sure that it's not a complete shit show or anything like that. So it's good to go. Right. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. All right. That sounds good, man. I'm encouraged to hear this. This is fantastic. I like civilized debate. I'm glad for their respect. And I would bet, now I can't prove this, and I'm going to have to defer to Luke about this, but Kyle Kalinske, I've heard his name. I know who he is. I would bet that he is probably the public-facing face of the Justice League Democrats that is not so much a freak like AOC or like Ilhan Omar or like the Young Turks or people like this that just want to destroy the right by hook or crook. It does not matter. They just want to take over district by district, instilling socialism into every state and county in the United States. Now, you know, I'm not going to ask Luke that question. I'm going to rely here upon the intellectual discourse, and let's see if it comes out in the debate. All right. So without any further ado, then, dear listener, we've got about an hour-long debate here. Luke has watched about the first 30 minutes of it. Luke, what's a good time to go to? You've seen a little bit more of it than I have. What's a good place to go listen to?
Yeah, let's go to, I don't know, man. You always have to go about 10, 15 minutes in here into these debates to get into the meat of it after the intros and everything. So let's jump into 15-minute mark. And I hope I can hear it well enough, because this whole show, all the audio I've been hearing, the third-party audio, has been hit or miss. Sometimes I can hear it. Sometimes it's super in and out. So we'll see. Hopefully this works.
Yeah, let's hope for the best. All right, I'm at 15 dead even. It's coming at you, and hit me up in the chat if you're having trouble. I'll try to fix it over here too.
Cool.
All right, here we go.
You're not individual. Okay, I stand corrected. Then the individual, the corporate tax was about 40%, 50%. In the 1950s.
I think you have it on times.
Right, it accounted for 33% of all federal tax rates.
Right, so now we don't have the numbers yet in.
No, it's
normal.
normal.
It was 8% last year. It's projected to exceed over 13
Charlie
to
Kirk has the
15%
Ben Shapiro
because now
effect
corporations
going
are
on.
complying
Right.
with the actual federal tax rates, because that's what happens when you lower the tax rates. Less people put their money overseas, and more people comply with the actual laws on the books. The third thing,
hold on,
I want to get to some philosophy really
I'll
quick.
let you respond just real quick. The effective rate went from 23% to 12%, so that's not true. The effective rate went down under Donald Trump.
Corporation or individual?
Corporate.
12% for corporate tax rate?
Yes, the effective corporate tax rate went from 23% to 12%.
Should be 0%, but yeah, that's perfectly fine.
That's a very unpopular position. Please proceed.
And I'm happy to elaborate on it. And this is a bigger philosophical point, and this is where Kyle and I will find no agreement whatsoever, respectfully. Is it our money or is it government's money? And that's a really important discussion to have, because you frame this as the creation of wealth is somewhat of a bad thing. I'm not going to try to mislabel what you're saying, but just because someone got rich does not mean anyone got poor.
That's
in
not
order
true.
to get rich in a market society means that you have to employ people. You have to have a...
All right.
So so I actually liked his response when he was like, "Oh, I think that's a good thing," and he was like, "Well, that's an unpopular position," and he said, "Well, I would say, well, it should be." You know, that means just that the popular opinion's wrong, you know, and I'm happy to explain why. But then when he says, I understand, you know, I know you think the creation of wealth is a bad thing. I mean, that's a total straw man. Nobody would actually think the creation of wealth is a bad thing. What he really meant to say was that profit is a bad thing. And, you know, we have to give, when we grab back special, there's something I've been thinking about lately, or I thought about lately, is that, you know, we have to give some credit. I mean, you know, if I find myself on the debate stage or on a TV segment, I'm sure I'm going to say something that I didn't necessarily mean to say. And, you know, so I have to, you know, we have to acknowledge the fact that it's not as if every word that comes out of their mouth is exactly the right words, you know?
Right.
But what he should have said was profit. because what he's about to go on, this explanation that he's about to give, and it's a correct explanation, and it's a correct observation that this actually applies in reality. And we talked about this in the first segment with businessmen feeling guilty about and he's about to explain why, which is that people just simply, they view profit as theft, and that, oh, well, I profited, now I need to give back. So he's about to explain this, but he should have nuanced that. He should have said, he should have said profit is the we all agree on the creation of wealth. Where we disagree is profit being good or bad. But what we should understand is that profit is the creation of wealth, therefore it's necessarily good. If it's not creation of wealth, if it's destruction of wealth, which is an A or B thing, this is law of identity. Again, Aristotle, A is A. This is an A or B thing. A thing can't both be something and not something at the same time. And you can't both be destructive and creative at the same time. And so you can't both be creating wealth and destroying wealth with the same concept. It's an invalid concept at that point. Well, the concept for creating wealth is profit. So you can't be destroying wealth and also creating wealth and then just lump that in as, oh, well, all of that's profit. It's an invalid concept at that point. And he should be explaining that. He'll explain it, not quite to that depth, but I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. Do you want to roll from here?
Just keep going from here.
Okay. All right, here it goes.
A good idea. You have to voluntarily sell it over a long period of time. People have to purchase that product. You have to continue to prove yourself. You have to probably buy property or rent property. You have to get money flowing through the economy. Just because someone got rich does not mean they went around and stole the money away from people. Wealth creation in a market society requires innovation, entrepreneurship, something that makes every single person in this room richer. So when someone gets rich in a market society, they did not pillage and plunder and get that money with putting guns to people's heads. Instead, they were creative, they were entrepreneurs, and they were innovative, something that should be rewarded. And so that's where the philosophical difference is. You look at wealth creation as something that might be bad. I don't want to
He missed a key defining factor. He missed the key definition of profit, which is that profit is trade for mutual benefit. That's what it is.
Right.
It is trade for mutual benefit. Now, it can be many individuals collaborating together to create something that they can trade with another group of many individuals who collaborated to trade. Trade isn't just like, oh, hey, I made a chair. Can I have your salmon? That's not, it's not always one-to-one. In the society in which we live today, it's almost never one-to-one. It's very much like, we've got this group of engineers and we've marketed it and sold it and blah, blah, blah. And we've all come together and here it is, and this is what it costs. And they say, okay, well, I'll give you that money because that money's worth less to me than the thing you're giving me, and the vice versa is true for the other party. So it is a trade for mutual benefit. And the language that he uses is couched in this sort of altruistic understanding, which is an implicit cuckery of the entire argument, which is that, he's like, and it's creative and innovative and they should be rewarded for that, not demonized. Rewarded by whom? Is this like the end of Star Wars where they're all standing up on stage and they get their medals and dun,
Right. The profit is the reward.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. You rewarded yourself by creating the thing in the first place. There's no third party over here handing out awards for, oh yeah, this is you innovated this, therefore there's $1 billion. Oh, you're very creative. Here's 1,000. It's this unwillingness to acknowledge that creating the thing is the process, and that is the reward. And now you have something and you can trade it, right? You can cash in on it. You can cash in on what you've done, but the cashing in on it is something that you are also doing, and that is the reward. There's no third party over here. No one's rewarding you anything. The government's not rewarding you for being innovative and creating wealth and making everybody else richer. It's like, no, I'm creating this because I'm passionate about it, and I want to, And if you're not passionate about it, you should quit your job and go somewhere else. And the reward is having created something that you care about and are passionate about. And then you can go in the marketplace and trade it and you can cash in on it, So it's interesting. Charlie Kirk seems to be departing from this very principled understanding of how market economics. I mean, so there's a such thing as socialist markets, so you can't just say market economics. Economics deals with markets. You have to say capitalism, straight out capitalism, You can't hide from words. Don't hide from languages. Capitalism. And he seems to be moving away from these arguments that are just staunch capitalism. And it's interesting. It's like he seems to get more frustrated and more angry the more he moves away from them, because the more he moves away from them is the extent to which he has a harder time dealing with the counter arguments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I really don't have too much to say about it. I really don't. So, yeah. But we're getting really long. I say we do one more drop, man. What do you think?
Sure, dude.
One more drop and call it a show? Okay.
Yeah, sure. Then let's just jump super late. Let's jump like minute 40.
Okay, minute 40 coming at you. 40:04. Here it is.
And on Air Force Two, halfway across the world, the Chinese officials, and 6 days later, secured a $1.5 billion investment deal for his fund, of which he was uniquely unqualified to run for. What's the difference with the Trumps? The day that their father became the president of the United States, they stopped all international business deals.
Wrong.
They did not sign one new deal. The only international business.
Okay, that's not very respectful. First of all, that's kind of shit tier, and that also happens to be the truth. Well, Charlie Kirk is right.
I mean, you also have to remember, this is towards the end of the debate. Everyone gets more animated and fired up as the debate goes on, because they're one-upping,
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, let's play this and hear Kyle's response. Let's see if we can make it that far. Here we go.
That they did were deals that were on the books for 5+ years more. Kyle, you're entitled to an opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts.
No, Charlie. Nice political talking point you got there. Who'd you get that from? John Kasich? Okay. So listen, here's the bottom line, and I hope everybody looks this up. You know how much money Jared and Ivanka made since Donald Trump became president? $83 million in 1 year. If you think there's nothing wrong with that, I got a bridge to sell you.
Oh my God. All right. Well, let's just take it apart right there. Okay. First of all, I have not heard that Jared and Ivanka made $83 million since Donald Trump has become president. I cannot factually verify that to be true, but that seems like a real serious exaggeration, considering that Jared Kushner was just about to go bankrupt before the election, right? And as far as I know, he's still in debt up to his eyeballs and underwater on his 666 building in New York, I think, right? 666 Park Plaza, whatever it is. Yeah, whatever it is.
I would just say, like, that's it. I mean, 83 million over 3 years divided by 2, that's like $10 million, $12 million a year per person.
Right.
Like I would think that's not, I mean, that's like baseball players make more than that.
Right. And
that's what I would have said. Been like, only 83 million? Jesus, like they get a pay cut or what?
Well, and I mean, Ivanka had a very successful clothing and fashion line that there was a noticeable uptick in sales after Donald Trump became president, because everybody wanted Ivanka's stuff until she started getting thrown out of Macy's and things like this, right? People wanted to buy her label because it was Trump. You know what I mean? It's the same. It's this argument right here, Luke. It's the one that they leveled at Donald Trump this past week about shouting out Don Jr.'s book, Triggered, right? Like, oh my God. This is the Trumps using the presidency to try to enrich themselves. Oh, my God. Listen, Trump is totally removed from the Trump dynasty at this point in time. He has nothing to do with it. The man is literally losing money being president, right? And you can make this talking point about the family is trying to enrich themselves all you want. They're business people. Hello. Well, yes, they're trying to enrich themselves.
Yeah, and not only that, but like...
That's what they do.
Enrich, like... Again, this goes back to the implicit premise, the implicit understanding that they truly believe that if you made money, it's bad. You must have stolen it from somebody. Yeah. And this is the thing. This always happens with socialists. Your socialists cannot comprehend that money is actually created. because under socialism, it isn't. It's stolen.
It's a zero-sum game. Yeah.
It's stolen from everybody. So there's a reason socialists can't understand what us capitalists think about money. And that's because they want a system where money isn't actually created. It's stolen and shifted. It's just changing hands. That's it. It's not actually created. I mean, Marx himself wrote about, well, if you're going to have socialism, or in his case, communism, well, you've got to have capital. Something had to have produced all that wealth. And then once you've produced it all, then we can usher in communism and we can start dividing it all out, right? And then we can, sort of go on to cruise control. That's the Marxist vision anyways. It never works out that way. It usually works out that most people are dead and everyone's poor. But
yeah.
But yeah, it's a fundamental inability to understand that wealth is actually created. So us capitalists, when we are like, okay, I'm trying to create value, I'm trying to bring something to market, I'm trying to sell it, I'm trying to make money, we're like, oh, dude, that's a great idea. Cool. Yeah. Like, all right. And we're trading and, we're celebrating making money. We're like, dude, you made so much money. How did you do that? That's awesome. This is how we think. This is how we understand the world, and correctly so, because this is how the world actually is in reality. Socialists can't comprehend that because their system is not about that. It's about taking away and redistributing and so on and so forth. So they can't even begin to understand how making $83 million a year would be a good thing.
Yeah.
To them, that's just a math. So like, when your understanding of the world is that everything is theft, and therefore we need a political system that institutionalizes that, then yeah, of course, making $83 million is a bad thing. But when you live in a world where you're like, no, I'm against theft, I uphold the sanctity of the individual, the sovereignty of the individual, and that we should be free from each other so that we can be free to produce, so that we can be free to trade, and we can enrich our own lives. Like we don't think about it. Fundamentally, we don't think about it in those terms. So when I hear about them making $83 million, I go, well, how the hell did that happen? That's awesome. That's great. What a success story. I celebrate that. Yeah. So it's a fundamentally different, this would be called psychoepistemology, but I don't want to get into that. But, we'll call it psychology just to keep it simple. This is a psychological understanding of politics. And someone like Kyle Kalinske, he can't even fathom how that would be a good thing. It's just impossible, because his outlook on the world, his understanding of the world, his interpretation of the world is one in which everything is theft.
Yeah. Yeah. And he is so blinded by his political.
Yeah, and that's because he's a socialist. Sorry. Go on.
It is. He is so blinded by his ideology, by his socialist ideology, that he really can't even make a credible argument here. His argument is literally, Jared and Ivanka made $83 million after Trump became president. Correlation does not equal causation at all. From where did they make that money, if that's even true? First of all, if you're going to make that argument, you've got to prove it's true. Then if you want to really say something, you should prove where that argument came from. And third of all, what this is really about is what Charlie Kirk was just discussing with him about how the Bidens literally did begin to profit and use the government to enrich themselves. And the Trumps stopped profiting after Trump became president. And so what he's trying to do is nullify. It's this, Luke. It's this. That same thing that we've been saying forever. And we said it first. Whatever it is that the left is accusing you of, that's what they're doing. And that's what Kyle Kalinske just did. He made, number one, a no argument.
True.
And second of all, the argument was dishonest. Completely dishonest.
Yeah.
Not an argument, and completely dishonest. Both.
Totally. Yeah, and there was one more step I wanted to add into your chain of logic there, which was totally on point. But there was one more step, which was that, and you would have had to prove that they stole it.
Yeah.
And didn't create it.
Yeah.
So even if you want to prove all of these little facts along the way, what was your chain of logic there? It was that they made $83 million and so on and so on and so on, and you would have then had to prove that they stole it too. Even if all of that's true, Even we assume all of that true. Tell me how they stole it. Tell me how them making $83 million is morally wrong. You know, so we can argue the facts all day, but let's assume all the facts are true. You tell me, give me the moral understanding, not the factual, not the epistemological understanding, but the moral understanding of that. Why don't you tell me why that was morally wrong? And I'll have no answer because he doesn't even know where they got it from.
Yeah.
To make a value judgment on it all. He'd have no answer. Right. You know, this is how you argue with these people. Don't buy into their premises that, you know, they love to work from the top down, or you could say the bottom up, I guess. But, you know, they start from certain premises and then work backwards, you know. And you just jump to the head of it and just say, okay, what's the moral understanding of this? But anyways, yeah, dude, you were right on point with that chain of logic. And that was an astute observation about that. Whatever they're accusing you of, they're the ones that are actually guilty of it. Yeah, you can see how petty Kyle Kalinske. I kind of, now I want to watch it. And I want to see the progression of like how that pettiness came to be. Because at the end of the debate, it sounded like Charlie Kirk was kind of the same places where he started, and Kyle Kalinske kind of went off the rails. And
that's the way it seems to me too.
Yeah. So, I was over there kind of building him out. I was like, oh yeah, he seems like a nice guy, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, sure enough, I mean, look, even me, dear listener, you know, I get trapped in this like, oh yeah, they're a good person. And then like 30 minutes later, you're calling you Hitler, you know, so.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, always, keep your antennae aware. But my problem is I look for the positive in people, you know.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know, the thing that I would say about Kyle Kalinske, and I'm going to go back and watch all of this, but like what I'm detecting right now is a Charlie Kirk ass whooping in this debate. That's what it seems like to me, just based on how frazzled Kyle Kalinske seems to be. But he at least stuck to his guns and revealed himself for not being the pretty face of the Justice League Democrats. He's just nothing but your garden variety Justice League Democrat. That's all he is. You know what I mean? And he's not going to be convinced by
AOC
anything.
with a podcast.
That's exactly it. AOC with a podcast and a buzz cut, and that's it. You know what I mean? Nothing more. So
buzz cut, man. Yeah. That's some form of oppression, white male oppression, right there.
Isn't it though?
The buzz cut,
isn't it?
All right, man. Yeah. We should call it right here, dear listener. I'm going to make one last plea to you. I hate doing. I don't like to be commercial about this stuff and subscribe to us, blah blah blah. But dear listener, I'm going to ask you one last time before the end of the show. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. We want to hit 100 subscribers. That's a goal for ours. But
yes.
That's and at some point we'll put up a payment gateway, but nobody, Russ, nobody can accuse us of doing this for the money at this point.
That's a fact. That is a fact. We certainly are not shilling. That is for sure.
Yeah. There would probably marketing people like if we hired a marketing consulting company and they listen to us, they'd be like, their heads would explode if after episode 59, we've been doing this for a year and a half and we're just asking people to subscribe on YouTube. Just trying to get 100 subscribers.
True.
But the thing is then they would turn our show into this commercial. I don't want that, man. I like what we have.
Yeah, I do too, man. We go about this back and forth about this all the time, dear listener. If we should, take donations, if we should, the fact of the matter is we've got expenses for the show. That's the fact of the matter. Should we take donations? Should we begin to advertise? We just want the show to belong to us and to you. That's what we want first and foremost. And so we're just
the people.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. We don't want our speech controlled. We don't want to answer to advertisers. We want to keep this as independent and as grassroots as possible. And it's just, so yeah, we're going to not a payment gateway, but we're going to put up some sort of way to subscribe to a donation, sort of like Patreon or something directly through the website. So you don't need to sign up for anything. And yeah, I don't know what we'll do. I mean, we'd like to do some merch or something. But
definitely, I get a lot of requests for merch. As a matter of fact, truly, I do.
Yeah, but the thing is that we need corporate identity for that. We need a logo. We need a logo. We need a YouTube banner. We need and we can do you can do that on 99 Designs. It's $100, but we also have to get this plugin for WordPress. That's $300. We got to re-up our WordPress business plan. That's another $300. We've got to
renew all our platforms.
Yeah.
All our software.
Yeah.
Got to get new machines.
Yeah. It's expensive, man. It adds up super quick. So it's kind of like, which comes first, the chicken or the egg sort of a thing.
Right.
So,
right.
But, we're not complaining. We do this for the love. I mean, in truth, we could just terminate a lot of our subscriptions and just kind of put the show up on SoundCloud and call it a day. And that'd be like $10 a month. But, we don't want to do that. We want to keep trying to keep this high fidelity, high production quality, a good program and hopefully maybe see if we can materialize some sort of income out of this and recoup our costs. And I don't know, who knows, maybe one day do this full time. That would be the ultimate dream. Well, the ultimate dream is to change the world. That's always from day one ever been our ultimate dream, is to change the world. But until then.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, man.
All right, Luke, you ready? Yeah, let's pitch camp, man. All right, I've got barbecue as always. I've got some good beef jerky here. What you got? You got anything special? I mean, I've got kind of trail food. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've got similar. I've got some Spanish olives, some fuetec Spanish salami, and some cheese. I'm gonna have. It's gonna be delicious. Yeah.
All right, man. All right, we're set. We are set, man. So, and I'm gonna make a run into the nearby village over here, and I'm gonna get us some whiskey here real quick. So we'll have that here in just about 10 minutes for sure. So
nice.
We're set. We're set for the night. So.
All
right, dear listener, 59 miles in the books. Thank you so much for coming along with us. We truly hope you enjoyed it as much as we did putting it down. We are going to be back at you for episode number 60 next week. We turn over a tens digit next week, leaving our 50s into our 60s. Feels good, Luke. I got to be honest, man. This kind of aging feels good. Feels really good, man.
Dude. 60 is a good number. 6 is a good number. 60 is a good 10 numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And we're going to be back in the saddle. You believe that, dear listener. And meanwhile, you take care of yourselves. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we're going to be back at you before you know it. And Luke, you take care of yourself, brother. All right?
All right. You too, man. Peace.
Later.